This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Thrown under the bus.
No. Always live, always real, always unpredictable.
I'm not okay with that.
It sounded good when I thought.
Log on and join our live conversation.
Yes, I don't like that.
You're 100% right.
DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Welcome to Daily Blast Live. It's Monday, August 5th. I'm here with Stephanie, Al, Brandon. I'm Tori. Sam has the day off. Let's get right to it. Well, we are all reeling from 2 mass shootings in the span of just 13 hours that left 31 people dead and many more wounded. Surveillance video of the second mass shooting in Dayton, Ohio, shows people running for their lives. On the right there, they're trying to help someone who was shot, if you can see on the top right here. In the other surveillance video, police officers running towards the shooting, responding with guns drawn. They stopped the shooter in less than 30 seconds. And a quick note, we here at DBL, as always, are choosing not to show you the portion that shows the gunman being taken down, as we've decided do not show pictures or video of gunmen. So clearly we just are a real show here. So instead of going into the newsy topics, I just wanted to check in with everyone. I got a lot of comments from the DBL Nation. I wore a Never Again shirt to bed, and before I got into bed, another one had happened.
Yeah.
So I just want to know how everyone's coping, so we can at least bring the DBL Nation and how you guys are coping too. Please write us in.
I mean, what you just said it makes it sound like I'm going to one-up your story, but you know, obviously over the weekend we're still checking the news, and I looked at CNN and saw the first one, and when I went to refresh it, it was a new one. And it was in the same, same font. So for a second, I thought something was wrong, like something looked wrong. Yeah. But yeah, it was the exact same thing. So I don't. The fact that I was shocked, but not, you know, I'm not falling out of my chair about it. Just kind of let you know that, you know, I think we're all suffering from some form of PTSD, and we're all handling it in our various ways. Some people are getting angry, some people are getting upset, some people are deflecting. But it just seems like. This is life now.
Well, you know, Al, I know I'm angry, and I know a lot of you out there at DBL Nation, you're upset as well. And I'm kind of upset that we're not showing the gunman being gunned down. I know we don't want to show his face, so we don't glorify him. I know we're gonna memorialize the victims, and we're gonna say thank you to the Dayton Police Department. But I want to see. And I want others who think they can copycat this atrocious behavior to see that gunman getting gunned down by the Dayton police.
Deterrent.
I want to see his head blown off, and a lot of other people out there want to see his head blown off as well.
I think that's
because you can't even go out to a garlic festival. You can't go to Walmart. You can't go to a synagogue. These people are sitting there thinking, well, maybe I can go shoot everybody up, and then I'll turn myself in, and I can go to, you know, I'll have my day in trial or whatever like that. I want to see his head blown off.
It's a fair. Now listen, I know that sounds crazy, but we here at the show are being real. And we're saying, how are we coping? This is how Brandon feels. So write us in if you agree, if you want revenge. Steph, tell me how you're coping.
I just feel, I don't want to say that I feel numb towards it, because I feel like that's just so disrespectful, but this keeps happening again and again and again, to the point where crying means nothing, where I've pleaded and said things need to change does nothing. You know, we're only 8 months in, just into 2019, so, you know, 7 months solid. There's been 250 mass shootings in America. There were 3 in Mexico, there was 1 in Brazil and 1 in Canada, and they're the highest numbers everywhere else. Like this, something seriously needs to change. It was easier for these guys to get their hands on an AK-47 than it was for me to get my visa to be here. That's a big problem. It's easier for you to go out and get an assault weapon that can mass kill people than it is for a woman to have an abortion.
That's very right.
If you had to go through the same steps that a woman has to go through to have an abortion, to get your hands on a gun, I'd love to see the difference there.
A lot of people are saying that, and a lot of people are asking, if you don't know, there's 2 bills on Mitch McConnell's desk that have universal background checks. That's 90% of Americans are in favor of this. If you are, write us in. He has yet to sign it. I want action.
It is interesting. She brings up such an interesting point that, you know, the paperwork that goes in anything else. Forget an abortion. Just try and build a white picket fence around your house.
Yeah, right.
And see the pushback you get from the HOA. You know, that you have to go to the city. If you want to dig a pool in your backyard, in Brandon London's backyard, do you understand the paperwork you have to talk to the city about pipes down there and drills and gas lines.
Point.
Yeah,
But
get
if a 19-year-old wants to get 100
for it.
It's true. And here's the response. I guys want to show you how other people are coping. This is in Ohio. This chant interrupted the vigil with Governor Mike DeWine. He was trying to speak about thoughts and prayers. Listen to the crowd. That's how Ohio is dealing with it. Do we have that clip?
Do something! Do something! Do something! Do something!
So what they're saying, if you can't hear, is do something. Do something. The idea of thoughts and prayers is beyond BS.
It's an insult.
It's an insult. And I think people, if you're not interested, get out of the way, because we want people that are. Now, today we also want to talk about the victims, including Jordan and Andre Anchondo, who died bravely shielding their infant son in El Paso. Now, their son did live, but he lost both their parents. And in Ohio, one of the victims who was killed by the shooter was his own sister, Megan. I just want to also bring up real quick, Glenn Oakley. This man is alive. He is a soldier who is off duty, and he ran in from the Foot Locker and grabbed as many children who were without parents and dragged them outside. So I need to show this man's face to say thank you. America thanks you. You took your job seriously and you protected American lives.
Just seeing you break down like that, Tori, that just hit me. It hit me even harder. And I know it hit you, Al, because you're from Ohio, from Cleveland, Ohio. And it's just, shielding your 2-year-old son. That child's life is forever affected.
Yeah.
Forever affected.
Forever.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and just everybody that's associated, the moms, grandmas, the people in that community, the people now know that they are, anybody that leaves their house now knows that you are a victim. There was a shooting when we were on vacation at the beginning of this month. There was a shooting 300 feet from my front door.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
So,
right.
I mean,
You seem a bit numb, to be super honest.
I really am.
Do you feel a bit like, I can't take this
It
anymore?
doesn't seem.
No, I can take it. I mean, it's sad, but this is the reality. This is what we've chosen, whether we know it or not. This is what we've chosen. We've had this opportunity. We've had a chance to change anything else. When they were giving thalidomide to pregnant women and kids were coming out deformed, we fixed it, right? And we don't have kids with that issue anymore.
Right.
We saw an issue and we fixed it because we chose to fix it as a society. There weren't people pushing back. There wasn't Twitter back then saying, no, let's let it keep going. Let's keep trying this drug. It clearly didn't work. And
So
we
you fixed
fixed it. But we've chosen not to. So let's be honest about what we've done here. We can't have it both ways. If we've chosen, if Brandon's like, man, I'm out of shape, I'm 100 pounds over my playing weight, and he's sitting home eating Twinkies, he's made a decision, and he has to respect that decision.
And he's responsible and complicit. And may I say, in my opinion, a lot of you disagree. In my opinion, when you stoke racial divides and say invasion, infestation, S-hole countries, when you don't condemn Nazism, you are invoking and inciting a race war. Well, and I think we should call it exactly what it is.
Well, these are homegrown terrorists. There's no immigration.
Absolutely.
There's none of
There's
this.
no immigrant part of this.
There's no part of that whatsoever.
9 hours to shoot immigrants. That's right.
Yeah.
Now you had a.
It just goes to show with the do something how people are fed up. Last night in a MLS soccer game. For the Philadelphia United, they played the DC team.
I saw
and
this.
They went, Alejandro Bedoya, who was the team captain, scores a goal, runs over to the live mic, and this is what he did.
Not the only soccer player we've seen recently. We've seen Megan Rapinoe take a stand, and now we see Alejandro Bedoya. It's no one can be quiet anymore, is what it seems like. It's coming out of the seams. Let's talk about the president, because he just condemned white supremacy for the very first time since taking office. Let's take a look.
Our nation must condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy. These sinister ideologies must be defeated. Hate has no place in America.
He also called for stronger background checks, tweeting Republicans and Democrats must come together and get strong background checks, perhaps marrying this legislation with desperately needed immigration reform. Wow. Real quick, again, there was no immigrant here. The man, I'm not going to say, drove.
Well, they're dead immigrants.
That's what I was going to say. He drove 9 hours to kill immigrants, and also was put out a manifesto with a lot of Trumpisms in there. So I have to ask you, Al and Steph and Brandon, is he complicit in this?
I think so. I mean, like when you use words like infested, when else do you use that when you're talking about rodents, something that needs to be stomped out? You would never go, yeah, I was at spring. Rats. Yeah, you would never say I was on spring break. The beach was infested with college students. You would never say that. It's a word that you say when you want to say something else, and everybody knows what you're saying. But then you can go, I didn't say that.
I know.
It's just a word that I chose to use. But we all know. So like, let's all understand that we are all using the same language,
it's
and we
true,
do
and
understand
words matter.
nuance. Yeah.
Well, take a look at this. This is Trump in May at a rally in Daytona Beach. Take a look at what the audience cries out.
But how do you stop these people? You can't. There's no. That's only in the panhandle you can get away with that statement.
Disgusting.
31 people dead. That was in May.
Yeah, and they were saying that
it doesn't take imagination to
there's a lot of
connect
people
these
that didn't
dots.
seek treatment because they were scared that once they sought treatment, they would be captured by ICE.
Yeah.
So this is the world we live in. So I know that there's another side, and people have their opinions on guns. And right now, your opinion, you guys have sway. Right now, they are air quotes winning. Yeah. So I hope when they read these headlines, I hope that they look at their guns and be like, man, we really are winning.
I do too. And yeah, go ahead.
You got the comment now?
Well, I'm trying. What we're trying to do is, if you do feel a different way, we want to hear from you. We want to understand. At some point, just so you know, we already had an assault weapons ban from 1994 to 2004. Violence decreased 43%. It expired. So why not do that again? Is my question.
Well, no need for you to look for comments. We have comments here. Some of DBL Nation have wrote in saying that it's not the guns, it's the person behind it. I'm all for harder background checks. It's easier to get a gun than a job, but it's not the guns. So there are a lot of people, and I grew up around a gun culture in Charlottesville, Virginia, New Kent, Virginia. There are a lot of people who don't want their AR-15s taken from them, but those people aren't going out shooting up synagogues. They're not shooting up country concerts.
You know what's interesting, Brandon? You guys know the Second Amendment, which is what everyone is calling for, a right to bear arms. You know what they say in it? A well-regulated militia. Does this seem well-regulated to anyone?
No, absolutely not.
But go ahead, Steph.
Well, what needs to happen is that needs universal background checks linking the state and federal databases, and then criminals need to be red flagged across all states, regardless of whether it's purchased. Because if you are a criminal, or if you have like mental health issues that aren't showed in one particular state, you can just go somewhere else and buy somewhere else. Exactly. It's really not hard. It's not hard.
And a lot of people wrote in and said, "Hey, what about prohibition? People still drank with prohibition, but you can use that excuse for any law, right? People will break the law. This will slow down. How many people do we have the gun clip really quick? I just want people to see this, Brandon.
Yeah, the Dayton Police Department released this from the firearm. This is the firearm that was used by the suspect. Now look to the bottom left corner. That's a 100-round drum.
That's 100 families.
That's 100 families.
100
right
shattered
That's
lives.
9 people in 32 seconds. That's what that is right there. Why? I'm okay with the AR-15s. Like I said, I grew up with these people who have AR-15s, but a 100-round drum, what do you need that for? Tony Montana is a fake person.
Well, then ask Mitch McConnell, because there is literally a bill at his desk. So please write your senators, your representatives, if you also feel that way. DBL is live, and our conversation about gun violence continues. The conservative-leaning New York Post says America should ban weapons of war. We share your comments coming up in Fifth Host. And later, discover how a woman battling cancer was given a boost of confidence when she needed it the most. That's in Heart Threads.
Hi there, DBL Nation. Kelly Schubert here with the DBL Digital team. Another hard day here at Daily Blast Live. We are having the same conversation we've had way too many times here on the show. I do think we're going to go to the desk and see what the hosts are talking about, but please continue to write in and let us know your thoughts and how you're feeling today. Hey guys, how's it going up here?
Sorry I mispronounced your name, Tony. It is Godin. Glad we got that settled.
Yes, thank you.
I just wanted to bring up the point with everyone. We have a lot of people writing in, like Dan Patrick, speaking out, saying that video games, violent video games, as well as lack of school prayer, and transgender. We have someone from Ohio saying that transgendered kids and the lack of the family values has caused the disruption.
Kids?
Oh yeah, it just came out. It's an Ohio lawmaker, a female.
People that condone drag queens apparently have contributed towards this situation as well.
Towards mass shootings.
Yeah, apparently so.
What does that have to do with shooting up a synagogue?
Don't even dignify that.
It's terrible.
It is terrible.
I feel ashamed, America. I feel ashamed. You should
I think we're all ashamed. And also, just so you know, Trump and Biden both have said, reportedly, the wrong names in responding. Trump said Toledo. Biden reportedly said Michigan and Houston. He then corrected himself. But to not even get the names of the cities right on both sides. Show up. Why aren't you in El Paso? Sorry, Brandon, go ahead.
I think that shows how numb people are to this.
That it's so often.
But also, Tori, you were saying this morning about El Paso and the area itself.
Yeah.
Because obviously I'm not from here, so you were telling me about the area.
So the shooter was from Dallas, and he drove 9 hours and posted a manifesto before. For anyone saying he's mentally ill, he posted the manifesto, drove 9 hours, had 100 rounds that Brandon showed you, had headpiece to protect his ears from the shooting, and he wanted to kill specifically Mexicans. And El Paso's a border town. So people come in and go out. Now, Mexico is going to retaliate with legislation against the United States for not properly securing their citizens, let alone our own citizens. So it's as big a mess as it can get. And at this point, we're on the brink of something. And again, Mitch McConnell.
On the brink. I think we're
do
there.
something.
I mean, instead of building,
you think we're there?
I think instead of building
Welcome to DBL. It's time for Fifth Host when we talk about what you're talking about in the wake of the recent mass shootings. A very bold cover on the New York Post. It demands President Trump ban weapons of war. And in case you didn't know, Rupert Murdoch, who owns Fox News, also owns that paper. So it's a big change. DBL Nation, is it time for the U.S. to ban assault weapons? And let me say again, since we did ban them successfully for 10 years in 1994.
And we got comments from both sides, so
Yes,
I can't wait to get into this. All right, Tony from YouTube says a ban on assault weapons will not stop mass killings. Terrorists will use whatever they can to kill. Stop hating and blaming Trump. Tony, we haven't had any sort of terrorists use a bomb in America in quite some time. These white supremacists or these white nationalists are using these semi-automatic military-style weapons to shoot up and to kill anybody and everybody. It's not about Trump. It's about a real problem that we have going on in this country. And you and a lot of lawmakers seem to be dodging this atrocity.
All right, I agree. James from YouTube says, this is every American's worst nightmare. Let's wake up and ban assault weapons. James, I think that's a good start, but I think we have a long way to go. I think we need to get to the root of the problem. I mean, I think that the mass shootings just, they say something deeper about this country and the direction that it's going. I think that we all kind of look around and we see that something is wrong here. Mm-hmm. The only thing that we can all say for sure is that we know that something's happening. And it's been sitting there for a while. It seems like this administration has stoked whatever feelings those were, and maybe in a way that's a good thing. Maybe just like everything else, feelings want to get up and get out, and it'll be unpleasant to discuss. But let's have this discussion instead of skirting around and talking about video games.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dana from Facebook says, guns don't kill people, therefore a ban on assault weapons is not the answer. However, I'm all for stricter background checks. It's easier to get a gun than a job these days. Well, yeah, you're right. It's easier to get a gun than a job these days. That's absolutely correct. However, Dana, I have to disagree. If people didn't have as easy access to these weapons, then they wouldn't have the same catastrophic effects. I'm not against people having guns, as long as it's done in a very supervised and monitored way. And to be honest, to the first comment that we had was from Tony on YouTube, which Brandon read, saying, stop hating and blaming Trump. I think any single person in power that has had donation or campaign money from the NRA needs to seriously consider what they've done, the impact this has had on the entire country.
Highly agree. Neffy from YouTube says, anyone opposed to a ban on assault rifles is questionable to me and should never be allowed to own one.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I think she's saying she doesn't trust anyone who doesn't oppose this.
Oh, okay.
Do you see what I'm saying? I got a little confused as well, so a lot of double negative.
Yeah, thank you.
I agree with you. Again, very quickly, I think we can go back to something we've done in '94, which is the federal assault weapons ban. I also believe in a buyback program. I think a lot of people need money, and I think Jacinda, the Prime Minister of New Zealand, showed how well that worked in New Zealand. I'm not saying it's perfect, but I don't think the Founding Fathers thought it was going to be like this. And if he did, and if they all did, I think they would have updated the laws since the guns have been updated as well.
But Tori, we had one mass shooting in the UK in 1996. We had a buyback program in 1997. We've not had one mass shooting ever since. So.
And I do realize there's more people in America, and we're a gun-loving country, but we got to do something.
Yeah.
We got to do something. All right, coming up on DBL, how a little kindness, caring, and a wig made with love can go a long way in helping a patient battle cancer. Heart Threads, thank God, is coming up next.
Yeah, we got a code 3232, a filthy mascara user on the corner of your little and nasty. Yeah, I said it, y'all. I'm back with the Beauty Police, and today we're here to let y'all little nasties know it's time to put down that nasty mascara that you've been using for 2 years, girl. Ooh, I can't even. Let's bring it back, though. Some of you may not know what I'm talking about, but I'm sure you've seen it. Now, every now and then I come across a young lady, sometimes older, sometimes younger, sometimes a man, whoever, whatever, and they always seem to have a nasty old mascara tube from 2010 that they've been clutching on to because it was that one good mascara that works. But let me tell y'all, that is wrong. Y'all are doing it wrong. I'm gonna be writing you a beauty fine right now, honey, because you're treating yourself wrong. It's just nasty. Now, you may not know, mascara is not to be sticking around for a year, for 6 months, not even 4 months. Did you guys actually know mascara is only supposed to be used for 3 months? Y'all heard me right. 1, 2, 3. Let's say it in Spanish now. Uno, dos, tres. French. Un, dos, trois. I don't know. Anyways, you can't be keeping your mascara around for that long, guys. So I have a couple tips for you. If your mascara is starting to get flaky or dry when you're taking it out the tube, it's time to go, okay? It's time for it to put it away. If your mascara doesn't make that sound when you're taking it out the tube, it's time to go. It's wet. It's not wet anymore. You're putting on dry, crusty mascara onto those beautiful, luscious lashes. What's good, girl? One last one. If your mascara kind of has to like break off a little chunk of like dryness, put it down, sis. Like, you don't need that in your life. Put that old dirty mascara down. But that's all I'm gonna say for you guys this time. Just make sure you're throwing out that mascara every 3 months and buying a new one, all right? I'll see you guys next time. Make sure to follow me at...
Welcome back to DBL. Now it's time to put a smile on you all's faces. So today's Heart Threads is all about the power of a kind gesture. Watch how a group of cosmetology students stepped up to help a cancer patient feel beautiful. This cancer patient was able to feel beautiful again after she received a special gift. When doctors told Joanne she had ovarian cancer and needed chemotherapy, she knew she would lose her hair.
She said it's not a question of if, it's when.
She asked for help from her friend and colleague, Shala. And Shala rallied her cosmetology students to aid her.
I said we can't do anything about the cancer, or we can't make her feel better physically, but we can give her some dignity.
They worked during and after school for 5 days to craft 3 wigs for Joanne and presented them to her on the final day.
When your hair is pretty, your nails are done, you just feel like you're on top of the world. So we really enjoyed making somebody feel like that.
Even though her treatment is ongoing, Joanne won't have to worry about looks thanks to these students.
This means everything. This was amazing.
On days like this, we really need Heart Threads, right, y'all? Right? Yeah. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Naomi. She said she remembered. I was talking about breaking into it, and I said no one would remember it. Naomi said she did. Naomi, that's why I love you.
I think I do have share heights. Copy those files from the green packet.
What happened? She put her finger in my tea again.
No, it's.
And I think that's unprofessional, hurtful.
I want that.
Why is she wearing headphones? Yeah, she is walking around like I don't know, like a DJ. She looks like the pink ghost in Pac-Man. She does.
That's a good one.
That's my girl.
I just played that somewhere the other day. That's what I'm saying at. And I was like,
is it weird?
It's hard.
Dude, does it give you anxiety?
Yeah.
I don't like it when they're right behind me.
What the
and
hell
I'm like,
was that? I just played it. But then they trap you, like in the corner, and it's over.
I don't know. There's like, I'm not a person that suffers from anxiety, but like Pac-Man does. It just, I don't like things chasing. I don't like that.
Oh, I was at my buddy. It was this weekend. My buddy has the mini Pac-Man game.
Oh, yeah.
Because now you can buy like the little arcade
Right,
game.
my son has
That's
that.
where it was. It's
Yeah.
super cool.
Yeah.
Like, that's weird you said that.
Isn't
'cause I
it
was like,
weird
wait.
this resurgence with, because like my kids who grew up with all this technology love old school stand-up video games. And I wonder what that is, because they have access to like
pinball.
Crazy, yeah.
Remember when we went to that thing?
Yeah, that's where I took my daughter.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I went to this place called Hyperspace here in Denver, and I like it because Dave and Buster's, like, they have fun games, but first of all, their games are. Did I ever tell you what happened to me one time with my daughter there?
But I know where you're going. They're super expensive.
Dude, I took my oldest daughter and my oldest son to Dave and Buster's, and you know I put like a decent amount of money in their cars. Like, hey, you guys have been good. And so my daughter goes off, and I like run out, just like let them go play, and I'm eating at the bar. And she comes up and she's like, my car doesn't work. And I'm like, we've only been there for like 8 minutes. So I come back and I'm like, find the manager. And I'm like, I'm being stern but friendly. I'm like, hey, something's wrong. My daughter's trying to have a good time and her car doesn't work. He prints out this receipt. My daughter was playing the pull down thing where you get all those tickets.
Yeah.
But it's like $14 a pull, like 14 credits. And there was only like 100 and something on there. So she went through like $60 in probably like 7 or 8 minutes. And I had to do that when you're dead wrong after you've gotten the manager. And you're like, okay,
God.
I see. Okay, well, we're gonna. That's fine, and we're gonna just.
I won't be coming back.
Yes, I'm wrong. I'm embarrassed.
Yeah.
It was so because I was like, I had that like, and can we check this out? Because and I was like, he like black and white is just like you can't argue. Just like, oh no,
Oh, no.
Super
Did you
wrong.
give her more money?
Yeah, I had to. We staying there. We only been there 10 minutes. I was like, I gotta kill this afternoon.
Welcome back to DBL. Today of all days, we love sharing your comments because we're all coping together in this. So I just wanted to read. John Venturini says, I am beyond sick when you have friends who don't want to go to a movie theater or people are second guessing going to any sort of public festival. Doris Shoemaker agrees, saying, I'm so fed up and I feel powerless to change anything. I think that's why people are saying, do something. But finally, Tony Godin says, gun control will not stop what they want. They can use cars, trucks, boats, planes, or drugs. They're doing it every day. Figure it out. Stop hating or blaming Trump. I will blame Trump, in my opinion.
I'm gonna blame boats.
I know.
Yeah. What is that?
I know. I said, what is boats gonna do?
Yeah.
So,
Killer
but
boats.
please write us in and let us know. And we want to debate. And we hope you're coping just as well as we are with you. We'll
Let's
see you
get
at the
those
same
boats
time,
off the street.
same place tomorrow. Bye, guys.
Hi there, DBL Nation. Kelly Schubert here with the DBL Digital Team. It's another weird day at Daily Blast Live around here. I don't know how you cope. The way I cope is I eat. That's just my vice. It's not great, but that's what I do when I'm feeling sad. And on that note, there is a new donut out that everyone's talking about. So here I am to present it to you. It is a trending story. You can see the Reese's Lovers donut right here. It is filled, the peanut butter lovers donut has more peanut butter with chocolate, while the chocolate lovers donut has more chocolate with the peanut butter. So people are really excited about this. It's only going to be out for a limited time. But this got me thinking, do you say Reese's or Reese's? Alex?
Reese's? I think I'm a Reese's chameleon, though. Like,
Yeah.
if I hear you say Reese's,
Like Reese's
I'm going to say
Pieces.
Reese's.
Like it's Reese's Pieces, right? Travis, Reese's?
That's how I say it.
Reese's. I think it's Reese's.
Reese's Pieces.
But I say Reese's Pieces. Anyways, guys, that's what's trending right now. We have a great show coming up for you. We are going to mourn this together. It's another sad day here at Daily Blast Live. You hear in the Bert in the background trying to get our host pumped because this does take some pumping on a day like today to have to continue to talk about the same conversation we've had over and over again. So again, a sad day here at Daily Blast Live, but we will all cope through this together. Please stay tuned for the show coming up. Bye.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Because everyone's talking about this.
Always live, always real, always unpredictable.
You think this hair just naturally stays like this?
Log on and join our live conversation.
I can't believe I'm saying this. I do agree with you.
DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to Daily Blast Live. It's Monday, August 5th. I'm here with Tori, Jeff, Al. I'm Erica. Sam has the day off, so let's get right to it. Now, we are all reeling from 2 mass shootings in the span of just 13 hours that left 31 people dead and many more wounded. Surveillance video of the second mass shooting in Dayton, Ohio shows people running for their lives. And you can see in this other surveillance video from police officers running towards the shooting, responding with guns drawn. They stopped the shooter in less than 30 seconds. And a quick note, we are at DBL, as always, choosing not to show you the portion that shows the gunman being taken down. We do not show pictures or video of terrorists. How did you react to the news this weekend?
You know, it was sad. I was out of town in Vegas and having a great time, not thinking about work at all. And then I heard this, and then someone, you know, I was like, oh, there's another shooting. And then my other friends told me about another shooting. So I was like, wait, that's not the one. It was in Ohio, right? Mm-hmm. I was confused about what shootings because they happened so quickly. So, I mean, I'm reeling from all this.
I told Tori, I looked up the story, obviously, when the first shooting took place. I was looking at it on CNN, just looking at the coverage. And, you know, I stopped what I was doing, messed around the house for a couple hours, and went to refresh to see if there were any new updates on survivors. And it was then the Dayton one came up. And because it was in the same font, I was like, how embarrassing for CNN. They messed up the city's name, you know, not realizing that 2 had taken place in the span of that quickly, just in a half of a day. So, I mean, the fact that I wasn't more outraged, more surprised than the fact that we weren't all on group chat, like, can you believe this? I think we didn't do that because we all can.
Well, I reacted differently. I spent 6 hours at the gun range yesterday.
That's honest, and I appreciate you saying that.
Being very honest about it. I took gun safety. I also went ahead and did some certifications. This is something that's going to be a part of my life from this point forward. I've been very honest about the fact that I have been a victim physically, and recently I've been a victim in my own home. I am sick of the police calling me a victim, and this was my way of taking my power back. And yesterday I decided to become a very responsible gun owner, and I know that that's controversial in light of everything
I don't think so.
But at the same time, I can't sit and wait anymore to see what's going to happen.
I think that's very fair. I put on a Never Again shirt after hearing about El Paso, said a prayer, got into bed. As I was shutting the light off, it happened again. And I was already just wearing the Never Again shirt. So I am like you. I took action. I didn't go that route, but I'm glad you're being very honest about it. I think our DBL Nation, we want to know how you guys are coping. That's how we want to know. We're not going to be newsy right now. I think we just want to know, how are you guys doing? I'm fearful of having children. I'll be super honest with that. And I'm also highly, highly disappointed in some of our leaders. And I think that I would say that they are complicit in this. And I go so far as to say that the president is complicit in this. I don't think he's a white nationalist, but I think when you stoke flames of this racial war, we're going to go there. And it's happening. So that's how I am coping.
Well, the way that we're coping is really to talk about the victims united, because including Jordan and Andre Achondo, who died bravely shielding their infant son in El Paso. Their son lived, but both his parents lost their lives. And in Ohio, one of the victims who was killed by the shooter was his own sister, Megan.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know. I was, like I said, I was in Vegas this weekend thinking about it.
Where there was a mass shooting.
Yeah, like, and I'm thinking it ruined my, it happens, but it's like, I've been thinking about what I was going to say up here today. You know?
Yeah.
So that's all I've been thinking about. It's like, what can you do? Thoughts and prayers don't work anymore. Yelling on social media, let me tell you, does not work anymore. You want to point the finger at our president. I disagree. Everyone wants to point their finger and give an excuse of why this is happening. I'm going to go as far to say is this is social media's problem. It's a problem that we have in our country. I think a lot of these people get pushed over the edge because of social media. I think we need to start regulating social media as well as guns. I know you're taking a different route, but when our Constitution was written, we had a musket. You guys could have your muskets back.
Exactly.
We didn't have, one of these shooters had a magazine that held 100 bullets. Where are you going with that?
Now, here's the picture of the actual Dayton, Ohio police released this, just so you know, and on the bottom left is the 100-round.
See, I mean, that's out of control in my mind. So, I mean, I think we need to start with looking at ourselves in the mirror and how we act on social media and who we're pointing fingers at. When a lot of these people get pushed over the edge because of people on social media. And I don't know the answer. I don't know what to do, but 2 mass shootings over the weekend, I feel like it's time for our government to step up and do something. Now, I don't know what it is. Do something.
And just speaking of that, we have video of this is interrupted at the vigil, okay, in Ohio from Ohio Governor Mike DeWine. This is him trying to speak. Thoughts and prayers. Listen to what Jeff just said and then listen to this crowd.
Do something! Do something! Do something! Do something!
So again, if you don't know what they're saying, it's do something. There's a bill right now on Mitch McConnell's desk about background checks. 90% of Americans all agree with it. He has yet to sign it or put it into the Senate. I'm sick and tired of it.
I guess I'm struggling because I'm all for responsible gun control. I'm completely for responsible gun control. But I think we also have a lack of being able to come to the table together because there's a lack of understanding from where people are coming. I can't sit here and have a conversation about gun control when I didn't have any knowledge that I thought I had until I needed that knowledge. I didn't have the knowledge I needed to speak about it. That's the reason why I will be spending my time at the gun range for the next few weeks and then on to decide where I want to sit, where I want to be. I think that I think when you say come to the table, it's like we need to have knowledge of where people are coming from and why their Second Amendment right
But the 90%
is so
of Americans
important
did come to the table, and they did say we want a universal background check, and we wanted a federal registry, and it's sitting on the desk of Mitch McConnell. The House has already passed it. He won't even put it to the floor. So it's like we will come to the table. We all agree on that. Why won't that get signed? Why?
Because of, I mean, I don't know the answer, but I think because of money in politics. Does the NRA support a lot of our government? Who's in control? The people supporting our politicians or our politicians? I struggle with that every day because I don't know the answer, and I think you know where I'm going with this. I'm going to take Erica's back a little bit on this one because I don't think it is responsible gun owners that are doing these things. That man ordered that gun online. You got a gun with a magazine of 100 bullets online with no background check, obviously the person's crazy, and he legally got or somehow got a gun online? Yeah. Okay, keep your guns. That needs to change. What is going on?
We all agree, almost all Americans.
They even tried to suggest legislation that people that have been registered as not only mentally ill, but people that aren't of a high enough intelligence to make rational decisions, and that bill was pushed back. Anything that we've suggested has gotten pushed back. And I think we've put our politicians, and it's going to sound weird for me to stand up for our politicians. I'm not, but I'm saying our overall system, our politicians, we put them there, and their whole job, as soon as you take off, as soon as you wipe off Jeff Schroeder on the name of your door, you're thinking, how do I get reelected? That's all you care about. And so now here we are talking about guns, Erica, Tori. Well, how are you going to get reelected? If you mention bump stocks, half of your constituents are going to leave. If you mention gun control, half of them are going to be gone. So what do you want to do? Do you want to move? Do you want to be a former senator, former congressperson, or do you want to get reelected? And that's why.
I wouldn't want to go down in history as being on the wrong side of this issue, and that's what I would want to do. And if it took my reelection, that'd be fine.
Well, we need more people like you.
Well, this morning, President Trump condemned white supremacy for the very first time since taking office. Watch.
Our nation must condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy. These sinister ideologies must be defeated. Hate has no place in America.
He also called for stronger background checks, tweeting Republicans and Democrats must come together and get strong background checks, perhaps marrying this legislation with desperately needed immigration reform. So obviously this is very controversial because even talking about marrying the two would imply that one has to do with the other, which...
You just nailed it. It's cause and correlation, right? Apples and bananas, those aren't the two things. An immigrant didn't do this. We were warned that they were coming in caravans. It's a white national terrorist problem. Let's call it out for what it is. We are real on the show. That's what's happening, okay? Even the president finally addressed it. He drove 9 hours to El Paso from Dallas to specifically kill Mexicans. It's in his manifesto, okay? 7 Mexicans died, and now Mexico is looking into legislation against the U.S. for not even responsibly taking care of their citizens. We've got to do better. It's not rocket science. Yeah. Every other country has video games, mental illness.
Yeah, I mean, well, Tori, let's just pull this up now. Beto O'Rourke obviously had some pretty interesting thing to say about the president because he agrees with you that he's a white nationalist and he's stoked about it. So, Jeff, I want to get your opinion after you see this clip.
Do you think President Trump is a white nationalist?
Yes, I do. And again, from some of the record that I just recited to you, the things that he has said, both as a candidate and then as the president of the United States, this cannot be open for debate. And you, as well as I, have a responsibility to call that out.
And I actually called for the wrong clip. Can we run the one of Trump at his rally? That's the one I wanted Jeff to. Okay, thanks.
This is May.
But how do you stop these people? You can't. There's no... That's only in the panhandle you can get away with that statement.
So if you didn't say, he said shoot them in case no one heard, but go ahead.
Yeah, well, listen, here's the thing. I'm here to stick up for Trump, and immediately when I talk, I'm the white man speaking up for Trump.
I don't think so.
You know what I mean? But let's just call it what it is. Let's just do it what it is, because people's greasy fingers are already over their keyboard ready to type it. So that's what it is. I'm going to stick up for Trump and what he recently just said. I'm not going to stick up for his behavior in the past. He's obviously said some stupid things, but he's saying we need to come together on this issue, and we need to come together on this issue. Does he say dumb things? Yes. Do I think he's a white nationalist? No,
but do
I
you
do
think
not.
He says dumb things or dangerous things?
I don't. Let me ask. Were there mass shootings under President Obama?
Many.
Yes.
Yes.
If Hillary Clinton was president, would there be mass shootings?
Yes, but I don't think manifestos would be quoting the tweets of those presidents.
I get you, but if you take Trump out of office, the problem's not going away. I get what you're saying. I totally understand what you're saying. I get where you're going with these clips. But if you take him out of office, gun violence and these shootings are going to continue. And Jeff, so that's why I say I don't think Trump is
I don't know if it's this show or last. They all kind of blend together. But honestly, I was saying, honestly, what Trump has done, whether you like it or not, with the rhetoric that he speaks, he's bringing up stuff that people feel. And it's almost like I always say, like, emotions are like when you know that you're going to be physically ill and you try and hold it in. It sucks, excuse my language, but it's better to just get it out. So I'd rather have a conversation. If you don't like me or you don't like immigrants, let's have that uncomfortable conversation. And if it takes Trump saying the things that he said to get that conversation up and out rather than us just having this weird family dinner for the rest of our lives, I'd rather have it like that. I'd rather, like you say, Erica, I'd rather know who you are and know where you stand. And at least maybe we can come to some kind of, okay, you don't like this, but you like this. Okay, there's one thing we can agree on. Maybe we can move from there. So I'm fine with that. And I actually, as uncomfortable as it is, I'm glad he's saying what he's saying, because it definitely pulled the cover off of 150 million Americans that felt like this. So let's keep it 100.
You don't think it's an entirely dangerous dog whistle?
I'm not saying it's not dangerous. I'm just saying it had to happen.
Well, it's covert versus overt. Right now, we have a very overt situation, and like you said, at least you see who people are. DBL is live, and our conversation about gun violence continues. The conservative-leaning New York Post says America should ban weapons of war. We share your comments about that in Fifth Host. Then, Olivia Newton-John gives fans an update on her breast cancer diagnosis. Wait till you hear what she takes to help fight the disease. And 1 in 4 food delivery drivers admit to doing this. We'll tell you what it is later in the show.
Hi Hi there, DBL Nation. Kelly Schubert with the DBL Digital Team here. Another hard day here at Daily Blast Live. We are discussing the 2 mass shootings that happened over the weekend. I feel like I've been here talking to you about this too many times, but here we are again. I think we're ready to go to the desk. Chris? Let's see. Let me see if I can get that thumbs up. Chris, we good? Yeah. All right, come on, guys.
It was funny.
First, just talking to the host about what went on
really
behind the
good.
scenes. So, yeah.
Erica?
We're going to talk
And yours
about...
was very good, that, about you with the guns. It was all good. Everybody was all good.
I like that twist.
I thought that was fascinating. Sorry, my thing is broken. Hi, guys. What's going on? Hey.
Very exciting.
Sorry.
Way to reel them in.
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. Sensitivity training. The head of the FBI a week ago stated that most of the domestic terrorist attacks this year were from white supremacists. Yeah, and when talking about overt and covert, let's just be overt. It has. It's been a majority of white nationalists. Far more Americans have been killed by domestic terrorism since 9/11 than foreign invaders. Let's just call that what it is. It's true. That's fact. So thanks for writing in. I do want to hear if you disagree. Someone said something about the socialists, so I'm going to get there. If people want guns, they'll be able to get their hands on them regardless. This is Samantha Morehouse. More laws don't do anything. I mean, look at drugs. But that's an excuse for, like, making any law. Because there will be people that break the law every time.
Right.
But you shouldn't still say that about making law, because you still need law and order.
Right.
So, you know what I mean?
I think here's something that we don't talk about very often because we don't really talk about this side of it. I think it's difficult for people, especially if they've been victims of some type of violence or victims of trespass, to have a conversation with someone who is protected by guns, just not guns that they actually carry. And the truth is, our politicians and entertainers are talking about gun control, and a lot of them are protected by guns.
You mean like bodyguards and things
exactly.
like that? Interesting.
So I think that's another thing that kind of like leans against credibility when you're having the conversation and you're protected.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay.
Time for Fifth Host, when we talk about what you're talking about. In the wake of the recent mass shootings, a very bold cover is on the New York Post. It demands President Trump ban weapons of war. And in case you didn't know, Rupert Murdoch, who owns Fox News, also owns that paper. So DBL Nation, is it time for the U.S. to ban assault weapons?
Again, because they did already in 1994. Sharon from Facebook says, I'm all for taking away assault rifles, but still allowing civilians to have their guns. There is no need for a civilian to have an assault rifle. Yeah, I'm sort of agree with you on that. Again, the Second Amendment is there. I think people have a right to bear arms. If you look at the Second Amendment, it says a well-regulated militia. Does this look well-regulated to anyone? In 94, we passed it. It dropped 43%. From 2004, it expired, and now assault weapons are back. I say it's on the desk of Mitch McConnell. I say he pass it.
All right, Tori. Elise from Facebook says guns don't kill people, people do. Guess what? The solution requires everyone to be held accountable, but no one wants to take responsibility. Elise, I appreciate you writing. Love you, girl. Thanks. Keep writing in. I will just say this, though. I think we are all accountable. I look at the people in this room. I think about the people in my family. I think about the people in Jeff's family, Tori, Erica. But all it takes is one person. That's the issue, when there's just one person that can make a decision and forever be a fork in the road of the lives of thousands and thousands of people. When we use the word like 9 people, the number like 9 people were killed, 30 people were killed. That's not just one person. These people have boyfriends, girlfriends, employees, co-workers, loved ones that will forever be changed because of this. So I just think those numbers, although they're large to us, are infinitely larger.
All right, Sandy from Facebook says a ban on assault weapons is long overdue. Sandy, I'm with you. It's gotten out of control. The 100 magazine clip, we've went over this already.
I didn't even know those existed.
Yeah, when they passed this law,
that?
Muskets. Think about how long it takes to load a musket. Again, I don't think this is responsible gun owners doing this. I think people should have their guns. I don't think there's a reason anyone needs a 100 magazine gun. 100 bullets in your gun. What animal are you shooting? Is Godzilla coming? What animal are you shooting? It's ridiculous.
If I get killed by a musket, I'm like, I did something.
Yeah.
Like, that person thought about
it's
that.
It's like, all right, I got time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joshua from Facebook says guns are like nuclear weapons. Once that door has been opened, it can never be shut, no matter how hard you try. Joshua, I think that's a school of thought that a lot of people subscribe to. Are we going to, as responsible gun owners, hand over our guns when we know that irresponsible gun owners will continue to have them illegally? I think that is a very important thought too, but something needs to be done. Well, coming up on DBL, discover how a woman battling cancer was given a boost of confidence when she needed it the most. That's in Heart Threads. And later, she looks like an innocent teenager, but looks can be deceiving. You'll never guess who she really is. That's later in the show.
Hey guys, Kelly Schuberth here with the DBL Digital team. I'm tracking all the breaking and trending news for you, but right now it's time for Fast Blast, where I give you all the news you need to know in under 2 minutes. Here we go. Check this out. A French inventor has successfully crossed the English Channel on a jet-powered hoverboard. Now, he tried this last month but missed the landing platform, but this time, the trek took him just over 20 minutes, and he says his legs were burning. But hey, we don't want you to confuse this with the man who flew across the Sydney Harbor on a jetpack last month. That's obviously super cool too, but not quite as cool as balancing on a hoverboard in the air for 20 minutes. Are you addicted to Candy Crush? It may not be as big of a problem as you think. A new study out of the UK says smartphone games may actually ease stress better than mindfulness apps. So does this mean playing that Best Fiends game that everyone is talking about will help with my stress more than the Headspace app? This seems crazy, but in the study, more people felt energized after playing a smartphone game rather than using their smartphone to be mindful. Here's the catch. Most people said they forgot about their work stress while playing the games, but during those mindfulness exercises, they focused on the stress. Makes sense, but I'm still going to use my Headspace app. A hiker in Canada is giving a big thank you to Metallica today. The 45-year-old woman was on a hike with her dog Murphy last month. She said she was a few miles into the woods when all of a sudden she realized they were being stalked by a cougar. She said she tried waving at the cougar, yelling at it, but it was standing its ground. So that's when she went into her phone and chose the loudest band she could think of. That's right, she played Metallica's Don't Tread on Me, and guess what? It worked. The cougar took off after a few notes of the song. And the woman kept the song playing for the rest of the hike, just in case. And hey, I want you to know we are going to continue to talk about what happened in Ohio and Texas this weekend. Like me, you may be feeling overwhelmed with sadness and anxiety, but I want to focus on how we can help the victims. One thing you can do is head to your local blood bank and donate blood. You can also go to Impact Your World. It supports 3 different organizations working to help the community.
Welcome back to DBL. Now it's time to put a smile on you all's faces. So today's Heart Threads is all about the power of a kind gesture. Watch how a group of cosmetology students stepped up to help a cancer patient feel beautiful.
This cancer patient was able to feel beautiful again after she received a special gift. When doctors told Joanne she had ovarian cancer and needed chemotherapy, she knew she would lose her hair.
She said it's not a question of if, it's when.
She asked for help from her friend and colleague, Shala. And Shala rallied her cosmetology students to aid her.
I said, we can't do anything about the cancer, or we can't make her feel better physically, but we can give her some dignity.
They worked during and after school for 5 days to craft 3 wigs for Joanne and presented them to her on the final day.
When your hair is pretty, your nails are done, you just feel like you're on top of the world. So we really enjoyed making somebody feel like that.
Even though her treatment is ongoing, Joanne won't have to worry about looks thanks to these students.
This means everything. This was amazing.
On days like this, we really need Heart Threads, right y'all? Right? Yeah. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
We're live. What's going on, everyone? Happy Monday. It's your digital break with Brandon London. I know we started off the show and talking about these tragic senseless killings that we had over the weekends, and we had a fiery debate in the beginning and for the fifth host as well. We love when you all write in comments. We love to read off comments from both sides. So let's get right into it. Should assault rifles be banned? Alan Blackwell, watching on KSDK St. Louis, says they're not saying ban guns, they're saying ban assault rifles. So we see where he stands. Leslie Ann Rikers, watching on KSDK in St. Louis as well, says all background checks do is stop a good person. Bad people will get guns the way they want, no matter what. So, but should that bad person be able to just go walk into a store and go get an automatic or a semi-automatic military-style rifle? Amanda Teague, watching on 11 Live in Atlanta, says, no, what it's time for is for people to stop trying to take guns from law-abiding citizens. Criminals will find guns and aren't going to follow the laws. So Amanda doesn't think that we should, she doesn't, well, Amanda, basically it sounds like you're saying that, and you're playing into that narrative where they're trying to take guns from the citizens. All we're saying for this fifth host is should military-style rifles be banned? Susan Lynn Bezel, watching in 11 Alive, Alive 11 Alive in Atlanta, says, remix, says, who's going to protect us when guns are banned? Cops? Even their hands are tied. And you can't ask the perp to please wait while I call 911. So again, everyone, I just want to make sure everyone understands what the fifth host is. It's saying, should assault rifles, military-grade assault rifles be banned? Not handguns, but assault rifles, should those be banned? Let's see if I can find some comments from those. Amy Weaver Duncan, watching off of WBIT 10 in Knoxville, says, I think it is pitiful that people actually think banning guns is going to stop the evil that is brewing in our country. It sounds like y'all just want everybody to just get shot up now. That's what it sounds like to me. Like, I don't understand. So every comment that I just read, all you guys thinking of saying that we're trying to ban guns. We said we're trying to ban military-grade weapons. Please write in on that, not trying to ban or take any law-abiding citizens' guns away. Please listen to the fifth host and write in on that. Forget pushing all these narratives. Read and then write, please. Thank you.
Welcome back to DBL. We are live and love sharing your comments. So many are coming in, Tori.
Yes, we have a lot coming in. Thank you for writing, because it's hard to cope with just us. First off, we have Veronica. Something definitely needs to be done, but to place all the blame on Trump is misguided. Dean says the left is always quick to jump on Trump when mass shootings happen. There were also several massacres when Obama was president. Jenny says, I'm a Republican and I'm from universal background checks, red flag laws, and common sense legislation. That said, it's wrong to blame Trump from this. So a lot of people coming from the other side of it, and that's great. It's political debate. I think all of us, though, can agree we have a major problem, and it's something we can't continue to just think and pray about.
And I think we also are responsible to call things out as we see them, no matter how we see them. Now, here's what's coming up next on Daily Blast Live.
America's Got Talent judge Julianne Hough tells her husband she's not straight. How would you deal with this marriage bombshell? Then, Olivia Newton-John's cancer fight, the drug she turns to, and the iconic movie memorabilia she's selling to fund medical research. And what the? A basketball player's drug test says he's pregnant. An alleged bank robber's note gets him caught. And a gang leader's gender-bending disguise. Wild stories when DBL comes back.
All right, hi DBL Nation, how are you doing? Hope you've had a good weekend. I have a story coming in. It's actually an apology from Neil deGrasse Tyson. If you don't know who that is, he is a celebrity astrophysicist. He is really known for Twitter for debunking movies about space, and that's usually kind of where he stays. That's his lane. But he did comment on the mass shooting, and he's facing a lot of backlash for it. He said, in the past 48 hours, the U.S. horrifically lost 34 people to mass shootings, but on average, across any 48 hours, we lose 500 to medical errors, 300 to the flu, 250 to suicide, 200 to a car accident, and 40 to homicide via handgun. Often our emotions respond more to spectacle than to the data. Well, immediately this was met with backlash, and now he's apologizing, saying that what he wanted to highlight was preventable deaths, but as everyone has said on here, he did it in the wrong way, and now he's apologizing. I want to know what you think, DBL Nation. Do you accept his apology, or was this not appropriate, and there's nothing he can really do to change this? So let us know, and I will talk to you next break. Bye.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Because everyone's talking about this.
Always live, always real, always unpredictable.
You think this hair just naturally stays like that?
Log on and join our live conversation.
I can't believe I'm saying this. I do agree with you.
DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to Daily Blast Live. We are live. Let's get started. Well, Julianne Hough is bearing it all on the cover of Women's Health. The Dancing with the Stars champion tells the magazine that she has gone through a transformation, and it's brought her closer to her husband. She even told him, quote, "You know I'm not straight, right?" And he was like, "I'm sorry, what?" I was like, "I'm not." That was really weird to read. But I choose to be
I like
with
how you switched the voices.
I like the
You did a good job. I got
and then he was like, and then I was like, but she says she chooses to be with him. And obviously people are calling out that there's a double standard, because had he done that to her, people would have felt differently about it.
What do you mean? What do you
So
mean?
if he came out and said 2 years later, yo, I'm not straight, I'm gay, right?
Well, she didn't say she was gay.
Right,
She said she wasn't
I'm not
straight.
Bi or
right?
something,
Whatever
right,
it is,
yes.
whatever it is. And saying right, meaning like you should have known that, it would have been a whole, I think people would have been like, how dare he do that to her?
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I would say this.
Did you see that side?
Yeah, I don't see that side, but I know that there's a lot of people that, honestly, like a lot of guys that are not cool with that. I know it seems like, oh, every guy's dream, you know, the girl and two girls, whatever, right? Okay.
I'm with you.
Okay.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
But speaking for me, I'm
No,
sorry.
I'm with you.
You know, but I think that there are people with religious and moral convictions that would be like, you know, there's nobody else but me until death. You probably are one of those guys.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to feel about this. At
Me
least
neither.
my wife, I believe, is heterosexual, so I only have to worry
Check your
about
phone.
half the people in the world. He supports this, so, but it's still at the same token, I'm like, well, that's fine. You could like whoever you like, but you're staying with me, right?
I just thought the
like
right
that would
at
be the bottom line.
Right. I thought the right at the end was annoying, right? When she's like, you know I'm not straight, right? How are you supposed
Wait,
to know?
let me
You
ask
don't tell me.
Erica, let me ask you this. Do you think that was her passive-aggressive way
Yes.
of asking for a hall pass?
No, I don't think it was.
Okay.
I think when you read the article, what she's saying is actually a lot less clickbaity than what we're talking about. She's saying that this is a person for the first time in her life that she's been openly and honestly able to be authentic with. And when people say soulmates, that's what your soulmate is to me. It doesn't matter like what sex, what gender, like that's a soulmate. So she's saying that she can be the most honest about every single part of her, and this man is still going to accept her and be her partner. And that's important. I think what Tori is saying is right, because if it were the other way, it would be different. And the reason why is because society has deemed relationships between two women as something that should be gratuitous and consumed by us in a sexual,
It's
deviant
sexualized,
manner.
correct, yeah.
And that's not what two women in love or whatever it might
It's
be
not about
is
that.
about that.
That's right.
So I think there is a double standard, but it's because of what our societal norms are.
And her husband does support her.
Yes,
He posted
yeah.
on Instagram that he supports her, so it's all
I
about
know
their
we got to
business
move.
anyway.
I
you
want
know?
to ask a
Exactly.
question, though. I know we got to move. Can I ask a quick question?
Okay.
You're going to ask it
the
anyway.
ladies. All right. there is a double standard, but do you think that it would be fair to say that more women have experimented at least once with another woman in their
I think it would be
history?
fair to say that more women are more open about the fact that they may have experienced
I
another
don't think
woman
you hear about the men.
than men. And again, it goes back to the way that our society deems sexuality, especially when it comes to men and women.
Like, it's cool to say that you've had an experiment, right? And I don't know if a guy would feel the same way about saying that. So we don't know a lot about the guy's experimentation.
Right. So Olivia Newton-John is battling cancer for the third time. Unfortunately, she says marijuana has helped fight stage 4 breast cancer. Now she wants to give other patients the opportunity to try medical marijuana through her cancer center in Australia. In an interview, she says she's auctioning off some of her iconic outfits to raise money for research.
I've worn them. They've given me an incredible career, and now I kiss them goodbye, and their value hopefully can help a lot of people going through cancer, so it's an easy choice.
Again, I think this also comes down to societal norms and what we feel like is okay and not. Here you have someone who is obviously struggling, battling cancer, and is saying that this is what is helping them.
Right.
And it's still considered controversial by
Isn't that
those
amazing?
who aren't battling cancer.
That's kind of what I was
If somebody said Snickers bars is helping, you're like, eat them, whatever, I don't care.
You could do whatever you want. I actually have a friend that's going through throat cancer right now, and he's choosing, he had radiation, and now he's taking the marijuana approach because he's always been that way. And he said he's doing a lot better. And I, you know, I talk to him on a semi-regular basis, but he's taking that route. I mean, we're here in Denver, it's legal here. I'm not sure if it's legal in Australia, but I mean, if that's what you're doing to cope or battle cancer, that's what you're doing.
But that just shows you the great job of government propaganda that has been done on marijuana. Where if somebody said, hey, Jeff, I've got cancer, but this green and red pill I've been taking make me feel better, you'd be like, awesome. But if somebody goes, hey, this green plant that grows on the ground is helping me, now people are like, oh, my goodness.
You know, what's really,
crazy.
it's true. My mom, just so you know, in D.C., you can take Marinol, which is a pill of that kind, but it's legal. And just so you know, it's not to get high or to feel good or anything like that. There's no active psychoactive parts in it.
Yeah, we wouldn't want cancer patients to feel good.
Right, but really it's because she stopped eating. She wouldn't eat.
Yes.
And she was going to die. So in order to save her life, she took a pill and she suddenly wanted eggs and we burst out in tears. So just know it's not for some selfish, I want to cope through the pain thing. It's to eat. It's to live.
Tell your mom eggs. You better go get some froyo.
She dipped them in some Jell-O.
There we go. That's my girl.
And medical marijuana is legal, medical in Australia. We just got that.
Excellent.
Oh, thank you, Booth.
Well, let's talk about a moment of happiness for Jenna Bush Hager and her family. Raquel Villanueva has news at this moment.
That's right, Erica. Jenna Bush Hager gave birth to a baby boy over the weekend, and now everyone meet Henry Harold Hal Hager. Jenna says life has never been sweeter, and this is her third child with husband Henry Hager. Now, little Hal even got a presidential visit. Grandpa and former President George W. Bush, along with Grandma and former First Lady Laura Bush, made a visit. She told her Today Show co-anchors his big sisters have already nicknamed him Hal Pal.
No, no.
What?
You gotta ask some black folks to give him a nickname. That's
oh my God.
Terrible.
I do have
He'd
to
be
say,
HPZ.
There was a moment.
Something like that.
I'm with Hal.
HPZ's way cooler.
Then Hal Pal? That sounds like a...
It's the little sister.
Yeah,
it's like, what,
weird.
3 or 4? I have to say this about Jenna Bush Hager and her pregnancy, because it came at the time that they announced that she was taking over for Kathy Lee.
Oh, yeah.
And she was pregnant, and she was scared to say she was pregnant. And I'm like, if anybody should feel like they have some type of job security as a pregnant woman, it would be Jenna Bush Hager, right? But clearly everybody's feeling that. So good for her and good for her family.
Congratulations on HPZ.
There we go.
Well, Victoria's Secret has hired their first openly transgender model, Valentina Sampaio. She posted this photo of herself announcing the new gig. I think it's really important that, one, we say that it's the first openly transgender, because we really don't know, to be quite honest, if there have been transgender models before. However, Victoria's Secret has come under fire before for saying that it was more about the fantasy, which, let me just be very honest, as a true fan of Pose on FX, the fantasy is there whether you're transgender or whatever you are.
That's very, very true.
Yeah.
Very, very true. I would say this. My friend started Third Love, and if you guys don't know it, it's a wonderful bra company that you can do online, and you can get fitted online online too, and they have huge band sizes. Their whole thing was to put huge pictures of women with C-sections or a mastectomy, and to really make bras for the normal human being instead of the I'm in a feather angel wing. No offense, I don't have that body. So at some point they called out Victoria's Secret, and Victoria's Secret backed down and said, hey, you know what, we're just not that type of brand. And their stocks are plummeting down like a deep plunge bra. They're dying. So they're rebranding, and whether or not it's for money or not, it's good that at least some representation is being taken place.
But is this kind of like Victoria's Secret saying, like, when you say a racist comment, you're like, I have a black friend? Is that like their answer to that?
A little bit, but you know what? I'm going to defend the huge corporation right now. Victoria's Secret probably got a board of CEOs, I'm assuming. Are they young, woke people on that board? They're old dudes. They're probably in their thinking 5, 10, 15 years behind what the market is thinking. And because of that, and it's a good thing, it leaves a lane for places like Third Love to come in there. Whenever the big lumbering giant is like, oh, no one likes that, and there's a smaller David that's ready to clean up on that. And I think this will be something to be taught in Harvard Business Schools later.
And it started at Harvard Business School.
See, and I'm sure you know that from your Yale business.
You're absolutely right.
That was a thing like just a couple months ago, right? We did like a whole story on it.
And I tried to get Heidi and David Spector on. She's everywhere, and she said, we might not be your first love, we will be your last love, and that is Third Love. And
that's a great slogan.
Really
I want a bra.
And they have a pop-up in New York.
I almost need one.
Oh my God.
All right, now this is off the rails. We're just gonna move on. A new survey might have you second-guessing ordering food for delivery. U.S. Foods found that 28% of delivery drivers, basically 1 in 4, have eaten your food. I've been proactive about a whole lot of things lately, and this is going to be one of them. That is disgusting.
So you're not going to order?
This has been going on.
I know, it's been going on, but I don't need numbers to prove it.
I would have said 1 and 2.
But I have a question.
Every other driver.
Isn't it like covered, like sealed or something?
Some of them come in tamper-proof bags, yes, but not all of them.
So they're just eating them?
Were you ever a server?
I would eat on the way back to the kitchen, but they had already eaten.
I'd eat on the way out, too.
Oh,
no,
really?
You cannot have hot food and broke employees without something going down. Look, I worked at a Thai restaurant that's closed now, so I can say this, and if somebody got the 5-prawn meal, they got the 4-prawn meal.
Oh my God!
Hey, what do they know? What do they know?
I believe it because I've actually had food put in front of me, and Al has been in my plate before I was able to get in my plate. Al has no boundaries when it comes to food.
That's true. That's true.
Man, I've eaten off a plate, but I've never eaten before the customer got it. Sounds disgusting.
Quality control, Jeff. Quality control.
You know when you get those plates, man, they didn't even touch it, and you go to your other broke friend, and they're like, should we eat it? And you're like, yeah.
I would literally go if I took a plate and Eric and Anthony were the customers, and I'd look up and be like, oh, they look great.
Yeah, they're
I'm eating after them.
You gotta check. And that's the other thing. Your friend comes. Do you want the rest of this? Were they clean? Yeah, they look super
good.
clean.
It was Erica. Oh yeah.
Your waiter just comes up and takes your plate, and you're not done with it. You're like, I'm still eating that. We got it, sir.
We will finish our morsels of shame during the break. We're coming up on DBL. Feng Shui for the bedroom. Helpful tips to make the most of your space and get restful sleep at the same time. And a basketball player's drug test comes back positive, but you won't believe why. Why he tried to get away with it. That's next.
Okay, cool. I was really interested in that Third Love story that we were covering. It just seems like, I think with the invention of, I sound so old, the invention of the internet, it's allowed so many people that before would have this idea that would have to go to Victoria's Secret and they'd be like, get out of our office and then steal their idea. Now people can create things on their own, market them with some success on their own, and if people like it, you can sell, you can be your own entrepreneur. Back in the day, you'd be like, oh, I have to sign up bras, but I have to find a building, I have to find manufacturing, and now you can do that.
Oh yeah,
It's not this crazy harebrained scheme anymore, you know?
So this is, if you guys want to see it, so Third Love wrote an open letter to Victoria's Secret, took out a full page of the New York Times, and basically saying how they don't include people who are heavy or people of transgender, and it really basically said, we're taking you on. And they're younger than me. David went to my high school. He married Heidi. Get how cute this is. They came up with Third Love in the classroom, Sloan at Harvard, and they named their baby Sloan.
Oh,
Isn't that cute?
I like. By the way, Jeray, can you
Isn't that
can you
cute?
tell Tori what's on the side of your head? Look,
Oh, so
Tori, what did you say you liked about Jeray? No, on Jeray's head.
on my head.
Oh,
What
this?
did you like
Yeah.
last week?
This.
What did you say you liked his what?
It's called a little line.
No.
A slide.
Almost.
Track.
It's definitely not a slide.
A fade.
A part.
A
A fade
part.
is this part.
Yeah, it fades in.
Apart.
That's what
A
that
slide.
Slide in.
Yeah, Tori's like, I like that line on your head. I was like, what?
I just took the compliment.
Yes. Only I.
I'm learning. You learn.
learning.
You learn different cultures, and I didn't know that was called a part.
It's
Oh
true.
my God.
It's okay. Hey.
I think Brooks could get a couple parts on the side. blended
What if
in.
he did? That would be cool.
I think Sam's husband does some
does.
parts.
Sam does a
does-
Peaky Blinders kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That-
Welcome back to DBL. Now, every now and then there's a headline that makes us scratch our heads and ask ourselves, they tried to get away with what? Like this bizarre video out of Brazil. A gang leader tried to escape from prison by dressing up as his teenage daughter. The guard said they were suspicious of the woman leaving the facility because of how she was walking, not the creepy latex mask. This is, I mean,
It's
hey,
not the worst.
It wasn't bad, to be honest. That mask, if you take another look, isn't horrendous.
No.
Well, that looks
I mean,
bad.
it's not the best. It's not the best, but
You're in jail. What
He
else
gave
are
it
you
a
gonna get?
shot.
He did.
I mean, they did, but he should have hired the guy from Miss Doubtfire. He hooked up a nice mask.
I just thought it was very creative.
Williams?
Yeah.
No, his brother came over and made the Miss Doubtfire
Javi
mask.
Firestein.
oh, that's right.
Javi
That's right.
Uncle Jack, how
I
am I
forgot
not getting
about
any
that
love
guy.
on the Miss Doubtfire reference? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Or maybe you just put the cream pie in your face in case your mask falls off or whatever that was. Well, a Cleveland man
Cavs.
is making headlines for his slip up during a bank robbery. He wrote a note demanding money on the back of a DMV document, which had his name and address on it. Here's the best part. The bank teller realized it, addressed the suspect by his first name, and then called the police.
That's got to be the worst feeling. It's like if you plan a bank robbery, you've thought about everything, and you're thinking about your next move, and they go, "All right, Tori, we'll see you soon." And you're like, "Uh-oh." I guess I don't need to worry about going to the hideout.
I made a huge mistake.
This is what I've learned about criminals as of late. If you aren't going to actually go out and make a living for yourself, then you're not probably doing a lot of research on how you're going to be a great criminal either. So that's
true.
why criminals are so dumb most of the time.
You're saying it's not all Ocean's 11?
No mastermind.
Every time.
Our last story, American basketball player DJ Cooper is looking for a new job. He was suspended from the European Professional Basketball League for failing a drug test, but here's where things got weird. DJ failed because the test said he was pregnant. Apparently, the urine he tried to use was his girlfriend's. What a way to find out your girlfriend is expecting.
I read this, I go, congratulations.
Yes.
Like, yeah, what a
Congratulations, you're fired. Yeah.
Congratulations, she may not have been your girlfriend, but now she's your baby mama, and you ain't got a job, dog. You ain't got a job.
Isn't it something they could test for, though? Like, isn't it the first thing, like, if it's male or female?
No, they don't really test that.
They don't?
No, when I looked into, well, I was looking at, like, for freedom of speech issues, there is a drug test situation going on that's going to the Supreme Court. And they basically look for temperature, I guess pregnancy. I didn't really know they did that, and the drugs, but no one's saying male or female.
I thought it would just come up, you know? And someone goes, no. Someone's done this before.
And I just love how everybody on the panel is going to let Tori just go, because she goes, yeah, I was looking into this for a research story where a guy I knew was interested
There is a First Amendment
hypothetically.
issue to this. There is and a Fourth Amendment, because you're search and seizing part of the person's body.
Well, that's the thing with blood and everything now, because I know that there's issues with people saying, you know, it's hard to get people that are driving while high on marijuana, and so they say I want to take your blood, but then they say that's an invasion. So we still have a lot to go on that. Sorry about this young man.
No, I know.
He's a bobcat. Too.
I heard once about a robber once that the family told a joke. He was upstairs hiding in the closet. They didn't know he was there. They told a really funny joke, and they heard him laugh upstairs, and that's how they knew he was up there.
It's hilarious after I crack your head with a candlestick.
Good laugh.
And where did I get a candlestick?
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, Professor Plum.
That's what was in front of me.
You hit him with your monocle after that?
Okay, coming up on DBL, tips for creating good vibes in the bedroom. How feng shui can go a long way for a good night's sleep.
Sleep.
Yeah, we got a code 3232, a filthy mascara user on the corner of your little and nasty. Yeah, I said it, y'all. I'm back with the beauty police, and today we're here to let y'all little nasties know it's time to put down that nasty mascara that you've been using for 2 years, girl. Ooh, I can't even. Let's bring it back, though. Some of you may not know what I'm talking about, but I'm sure you've seen it. Now, every now and then I come across a young lady, sometimes older, sometimes younger, sometimes a man, whoever, whatever, and they always seem to have a nasty old mascara tube from 2010 that they've been clutching on to because it was that one good mascara that works. But let me tell y'all, that is wrong. Y'all are doing it wrong. I'm gonna be writing you a beauty fine right now, honey, because you're treating yourself wrong. It's just nasty. Now, you may not know, mascara is not to be sticking around for a year, for 6 months, not even 4 months. Did you guys actually know mascara is only supposed to be used for 3 months? Y'all heard me right. 1, 2, 3. Let's say it in Spanish now. Uno, dos, tres. French. Un, dos, trois. I don't know. Anyways, you can't be keeping your mascara around for that long, guys. So I have a couple tips for you. If your mascara is starting to get flaky or dry when you're taking it out the tube, it's time to go, okay? It's time for it to put it away. If your mascara doesn't make that sound when you're taking it out the tube, it's time to go. It's wet. It's not wet anymore. You're putting on dry, crusty mascara onto those beautiful, luscious lashes. What's good, girl? One last one. If your mascara kind of has to like break off a little chunk of like dryness, put it down, sis. Like, you don't need that in your life. Put that old dirty mascara down. But that's all I'm gonna say for you guys this time. Just make sure you're throwing out that mascara every 3 months and buying a new one, all right? I'll see you.
Welcome back to DBL. Getting a good night's sleep is all I ever want, and a good sandwich. And creating harmony in the bedroom can make all the difference. Our very own Tori Shulman is tackling feng shui in the bedroom in today's So Close, sponsored by So Clean.
It's no secret, partnerships aren't easy, especially when you have to share the bedroom. Well, my husband and I have mastered the master bedroom. Get it? And I'm here to spread the good word. First off, it's all about symmetry, people. Get that bed away from that wall, get 2 side tables, turn off that pesky overhead light that nobody looks good in, and opt for 2 soft lamps instead. Now, when it comes to mirrors, some feng shui experts suggest leave them out of the bedroom. Apparently, they hold past energy and even hint at a third party meddling in your duo. Well, if you're one of those people like me that need a mirror in the bedroom, consider a circular one. It symbolizes continuity in your relationship. Another decor tip, get a headboard. It can actually connect you with your partner, and not having a headboard can make your relationship feel temporary, and nobody wants that. Lastly, invest in your sleep. Splurge on bedding that you are excited to snuggle in every night.
And for more ways to rest easy, call So Clean at 1-800-319-3713.
Roses are red, violets are blue. These are your tips to harmony in the bedroom. Now the rest, it's up to you. Mascara, I think.
Nailed it as always, Tori Shulman. Is it feng shui or feng shui? I don't know. I always say feng shui, but I think it's feng. We don't know. We'll be right back.
Naomi, she said I was talking about breaking too, and I said no one will remember it. Naomi said she did. Naomi, that's why I love you.
I have an idea about share heights. Copy those files from the green packet.
What happened?
She put her finger in my tea again. No, and I think that's unprofessional, hurtful.
Why is she wearing headphones?
Yeah, she is walking around like I don't know, like a DJ. She looks like the pink ghost in Pac-Man. She does.
That's a good one.
That's my girl.
I just played that somewhere the other day. That's what I'm saying at. And I was like,
is it weird?
It's hard.
Dude, does it give you anxiety?
Yeah.
I don't like it when they're right behind me.
What the
and
hell
I'm like,
was that? I just played it. But then they trap you, like in the corner, and it's over.
It's we. I don't know. There's like, I'm not a person that suffers from anxiety, but like Pac-Man does. It just like I don't like things chasing. I don't like that.
Oh, I was at my buddy. It was this weekend. My buddy has the mini Pac-Man game.
Oh yeah.
Because now you could buy like the little arcade.
Right,
game.
my son has
That's
that.
where it was. It's
Yeah.
super cool.
Yeah.
Like, that's weird you said that.
Isn't
'cause I
it
was like,
weird
wait.
this resurgence with, because like my kids who grew up with all this technology love old school stand-up video games. And I wonder what that is, because they have access to like
pinball.
Crazy, yeah.
Remember when we went to that thing?
Yeah, that's where I took my daughter.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I went to this place called Hyperspace here in Denver, and I like it because Dave and Buster's, like, they have fun games, but first of all, their games are. Did I ever tell you what happened to me one time with my daughter there?
But I know where you're going. They're super expensive.
Dude, I took my oldest daughter and my oldest son to Dave and Buster's, and you know I put like a decent amount of money in their cars. Like, hey, you guys have been good. And so my daughter goes off, and I like run out, just like let them go play, and I'm eating at the bar. And she comes up and she's like, my car doesn't work. And I'm like, we've only been there for like 8 minutes. So I come back and I'm like, find the manager. And I'm like, I'm being stern but friendly. I'm like, hey, something's wrong. My daughter's trying to have a good time and her car doesn't work. He prints out this receipt. My daughter was playing the pull down thing where you get all those tickets.
Yeah.
But it's like $14 a pull, like 14 credits. And there was only like 100 and something on there. So she went through like $60 in probably like 7 or 8 minutes. And I had to do that when you're dead wrong after you've gotten the manager. And you're like, okay,
God.
I see. Okay, well, that's fine, and we're gonna just.
I won't be coming back.
Yes, I'm wrong. I'm embarrassed.
Yeah.
It was so, because I was like, I had that like, and can we check this out? Because, and I was like, he like black and white is just like, you can't argue, just like, oh no. Oh no.
Did you give her more money?
Yeah, I had to. We only been there 10 minutes. I was like, I gotta kill this afternoon.
Welcome back to Daily Blast Live. We want to give a big DBL shout out to retired pro football player Champ Bailey, who also was my neighbor. The Denver Broncos legend was inducted into the Hall of Fame over the weekend. Listen to his emotional speech.
So on behalf of all the black men that I've mentioned tonight, and many more out there, we say this to all of our white friends. When we tell you about our fears, please listen. When we tell you we're afraid for our kids, please listen. When we tell you there are many challenges we face because of the color of our skin, please listen.
I can tell you this about Champ Bailey. He is one of the most well-respected athletes that I've known. He just has an incredible reputation, and this is the reason why, because he says things that really matter and are important, and this is something that people are listening to.
Wow. He said it calmly. He said it quietly. It was simple, but it made a huge impact.
And in a moment that's supposed to be for him, it's supposed to be the apex, the culmination of your career. That's your time to talk about yourself, and he took it to talk about an issue that's near and dear to his heart. So
our athletes have stepped up.
All people have to do is realize that. Even if you've never had a conversation with a black person, I've learned so much from you guys, man. I appreciate that for the time I've been here. I learned from Champ Bailey right there. Just a little speech like that gets the conversation going, and you might learn something. So thank you, guys.
Way to go, Champ. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Stay safe.
talking about what you're talking about.
Because everyone's talking about this.
Always live, always real, always unpredictable.
You are totally off base here.
Log on and join our live conversation.
I can't believe I'm saying this. I do agree with you.
DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to Daily Blast Live. It's Monday, August 5th. I'm here with Jeff, Al, Brandon. I'm Tori. Sam has the day off. Let's just get right to it. Well, let's just be real. We are reeling from 2 mass shootings in the span of just 13 hours that left 31 people dead and many more wounded. Surveillance video of the second mass shooting in Dayton, Ohio shows people running for their lives. Upper right, you can see someone got shot and they're attending to them. And you can see in this other surveillance video that police officers running towards the shooting responded with guns drawn. They stopped the shooter in less than 30 seconds. And a quick note, we are at DBL, as always, choosing not to show you the portion that shows the gunman being taken down. We do not show pictures or video of gunmen. So before we get all newsy and talking points and all that, I just want to ask how everyone's doing and how everyone's coping. The DBL Nation wrote me a lot, and I know they're coping with it. This is a pretty big deal in America, and I want to know what everyone's night was like and how they dealt with it this weekend.
I was actually out of town this weekend. I was in Vegas, and one of my friends told me about the shooting, the first shooting, I should say. And I was like, wow, that's terrible, you know, kind of numb to it, to be perfectly honest with you. Another one of my friends later on goes, hey, did you hear about the shooting? And says it was in Dayton. And I'm like, no, man, it's not in Dayton. And he didn't know about the other one. I didn't know. And I'm like, wait, there was 2 shootings? And then everything kind of got put together, and then you kind of step back and you're like, what is going on? You know, and it's like, what is going on here? What's going on? And I do want to applaud our show specifically. I hope other media outlets take this route by not showing their names, not showing their face. There's no notoriety here. There's no recognition. And I think that's something other media outlets need to do.
What, Jeff?
I agree with you.
I'm glad we didn't show the killer. I'm glad we didn't show his face, but I wanted to show the cops gunning him down. I wanted to see his head blown off. And I'm sorry, I don't know if, you know what, I'm not sorry about that, because there are people just out having a good time. There are people going to Walmart. There are people going to synagogues. And I know we don't want to, you know, make the shooter have any sort of fame or whatever like that, but I want those a-holes at home that think that they're going to copycat and emulate what they did to know that, no, you're not just going to go up and shoot up a public place and then get taken into police custody and thinking that it's just going to happen like that every time.
So you want a stronger deterrent.
I want to see it.
You're angry. Do you feel numb, or you're with him?
You know I'm with him.
Yeah, I do.
We had the same conversation with my friends over the weekend. I think a lot of people at home are having that same conversation, but they're not putting it on social media or on TV. Yeah. I'll stand with Brandon on this one and put it on TV.
I think a lot of people.
I think they need to bring into Tarantino law, and you think that's like a joke because it's a movie. What they do at the end of Tarantino movies, I want done to these people. Yeah. No Netflix special in 50 years. No, we're gonna have a little show on you about Charlie Manson and make a movie about you 50 years later. No, you're gone. You're dead. We need swifter rules. We need more violent rules. I'm sorry for these people who do these horrific crimes.
And just so you know, in El Paso at least, they are going to be committing this as a terrorist massacre, and he will be going up against the death penalty. So we will see that, but it takes time and it's done in a very painless way, let's say. So maybe people are against that. How did you feel about this?
I mean, I wasn't as shocked as I wish I was.
Were you in numb?
Well, when I saw the first one, obviously it was 12 hours before the following one, which I didn't know was coming, and I read it. And I read it like I was preparing for a story because I knew I had to do my job and do it well on Monday, or to the best of my ability. And right before I went to sleep, I wanted to make sure that I got all the information, and I went to refresh the news site I was on, and the Dayton shooting came up. But I thought that they had just made a misprint of the city, because I was like, well, they can't be 2 back-to-back. And I was like, how embarrassing for this news site that they mislabeled the cities, and then I realized that there were 2, and I realized that even at this point, that didn't shock me. I mean, I don't think that. There's a famous line that Rick Pitino said when he took over the Celtics in the early 90s. Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, all the Boston Celtics greats have retired, and they were getting their butts kicked at halftime. And Rick Pitino famously said, Larry Bird is not walking through that door. Robert Parrish is not walking through that door, meaning it's only us that's going to help with this situation. And right now, I don't see anybody walking through that door. I don't see any politician with any kind of rhetoric that just sounds like, you know, I want to see somebody like rip their shirt off on a panel and be like, this has to stop. We need some craziness to go down to battle this craziness, because I feel like we have craziness over here, and then we're trying to
be sane over there.
Be sane over here, and it just doesn't work. So I don't know what the solution is, but clearly neither do our leaders.
Well, I just want to let you know, I was wearing a Never Again shirt to bed, said a prayer for El Paso, and by the time I went in under the sheets, it had happened again. So I was like, I couldn't even wear the shirt to bed. So my thought is to take it to the politicians. That's always where I go. That's a check and balance on them. Just so you know, there is a bill in Mitch McConnell's office for universal background checks and a federal registry. 90% of Americans agree with it. He has yet to even bring it to the floor. So if you're angry about that, take some action. Again, this is how Ohio is coping. I want to show this quick video. This interrupted the governor, Mike DeWine, at the actual vigil. Listen how angry people are. And then very quickly, they're saying do something very quickly. If we can show Alejandro Bedoya of the DC United scored a goal and ran up to the microphone to make a comment. Look what he said.
Hey, Congress.
Standing up, and our politicians are not.
I mean, we just saw that when people took the streets in Puerto Rico last week, calling for the oust of the mayor.
Yeah.
He was gone.
Yeah.
I mean, when people start getting in the streets, things do change. We saw that with the civil rights movement, with the women's suffrage movement. We have seen things change. And until then, until you start threatening politicians with their job, because when they get elected, their first thought is, I need to get reelected. And what's the best way to do that is avoiding guns. Because as soon as you do that, you cut your base in half. So if you say, hey, I want kids to live, somebody will be like, hey, you don't know anything about guns, you're not getting my vote. If you say, hey, I'm pro-gun, how could you say that at a time like this? You're not getting my vote. So we have really boxed our politicians in, where if they say anything, they're going to lose their job, and they're going to be replaced with a sycophant that's going to say whatever they need to say to get elected. So we've made it tough on them too.
It's true, but bullets don't stop at Republicans or Democrats. It's both. At some point, constituents are going to want change.
When is that point, Tori?
At this point, 90% of us agree, and Mitch McConnell still won't bring it to the floor. It's already passed the House. It takes one signature, and it's done.
But Tori, over the weekend, we saw a lot of these politicians show their true colors. Instead of going after the NRA, instead of pushing Mitch McConnell, they want to say, let's ban video games.
I know.
Let's blame it on the video games.
Speaking of, you're right.
There's no prayer in school.
And they said, someone even said about transgendered people. We'll bring that up today. But speaking of politicians, this morning President Trump actually condemned white supremacy for the very first time since taking office. Let's take a look.
Our nation must condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy. These sinister ideologies must be defeated. Hate has no place in America.
He also called for stronger background checks, as I've said, tweeting Republicans and Democrats must come together and get strong background checks, perhaps marrying this legislation with desperately needed immigration reform. Very, very quickly, immigration reform has very little to do with this. Again, a white nationalist did this. It's white nationalist terrorism. I would be remiss if I don't say I think and believe strongly that Trump incited this violence. And by saying that, when he uses words like invaded, infested, he doesn't condemn Nazis. When you do that, you stoke a fire from the top that makes people feel emboldened to do so. This one gentleman in El Paso literally used quotes from his tweets in his manifesto. He drove 9 hours to kill Mexicans. That's in the manifesto. So take a look. This is a Trump rally in May, Daytona Beach, speaking about how to stop the immigrants coming in. Listen to what this happened.
But how do you stop these people? You can't. There's no. That's only in the panhandle you can get away with that statement.
So for me, it doesn't take a lot of imagination to connect the dots. But I want to know how you guys feel in DBL as well.
Yeah, and a lot of people feel like you, Tori. I don't feel that way. I feel like there was plenty of shootings when Obama was president. I don't care who is president right now. You put Hillary Clinton in there, there's going to be crazy people with guns. I think it starts with all of us, not pointing fingers at Democrats or Republicans. I think it starts with all of us in social media. That's what I think. Because I think these people are teetering between insanity and some kind of other alter reality that they're living in. And social media, I think, pushes them over the edge. We need some kind of gun reform. That second shooter bought a weapon online with a 100 magazine clip. What in the world do you need a gun that holds? Look at that thing. He bought that online.
This is Dayton, Ohio.
This is 2019. This is what What are you using that gun for? What in the world are you using that gun for? We do not have legislation to ban something like that. I get my sore throat and it's all pussed up.
It's right there.
And I'm like, could I get a Z-Pack? I can't get a Z-Pack from a doctor, but I could get a gun with 100 rounds of ammunition. That's insane. I'm not saying take away the guns. By all means, keep your guns. But when we made this law in 1776, we had muskets and black powder, not 100-round ammunition.
And Jeff, I see what you're saying when you're saying you're not going to put the blame on Trump. And I'm not going, after you just said all of that with the rounds and how hard it is to get medicine, let alone how easy it is to grab a gun. But you know, of all people, there are power in words. So I take it as you listen to the motivational speeches every morning. Right. You're already a motivational person. But when you listen to Tony Robbins and he's saying things like, you are it, you are a leader, you are who you need to be, now go be yourself, you go out and you try and take over the world in a positive way. But like Tori said, when you hear things like infestation, they're invading, there are other people who hear that and they're like, oh, I gotta go and exterminate all of those type of people. So I'm like you, I'm not gonna place all that blame on him because it's the whole system's messed up. Yeah. But when you say things like that, those crazies out there hear it, and they don't hear the same thing we hear.
Yeah, and I hear you. I totally hear you. And I respect what you guys are saying because I think it's a debate that the world's having. You know what I mean? At least our country. Yeah. And I do respect that. Yeah. I do respect that he is condemning white supremacy, white nationalists. He is coming out with that. He does sound like he wants to do some kind of reform. Listen, he said plenty of dumb things. I'm not here to defend the president and the dumb things he said, but we need to, if we're always at odds, always on one side or the other, nothing's ever going to get done.
But I would just say and hypothesize that they're not dumb, they're dangerous. I think they're literally igniting a flame of racism that's starting a race war.
Perhaps, but we don't know. I think no matter who is president, this is going to happen unless we make a change.
And I think this was inflamed due to his rhetoric. But we'll see what the DBL Nation thinks. DBL is live, and our conversation about gun violence continues. The conservative-leaning New York Post says America should ban weapons of war. We share your comments about that in Fifth Host. Then Olivia Newton-John gives fans an update on her breast cancer diagnosis. Wait till you hear what she takes to help fight the disease. And 1 in 4 food delivery drivers admits to doing this. Gross. We'll tell you what it is later in the show.
Hey guys, Kelly Schubert here with the DBL Digital team. I'm tracking all the breaking and trending news for you, but right now it's time for Fast Blast, where I give you all the news you need to know in under 2 minutes. Here we go. Check this out. A French inventor has successfully crossed the English Channel on a jet-powered hoverboard. Now, he tried this last month but missed the landing platform, but this time, the trek took him just over 20 minutes, and he says his legs were burning. But hey, we don't want you to confuse this with the man who flew across the Sydney Harbor on a jetpack last month. That's obviously super cool too, but not quite as cool as balancing on a hoverboard in the air for 20 minutes. Are you addicted to Candy Crush? It may not be as big of a problem as you think. A new study out of the UK says smartphone games may actually ease stress better than mindfulness apps. So does this mean playing that Best Fiends game that everyone is talking about will help with my stress more than the Headspace app? This seems crazy, but in the study, more people felt energized after playing a smartphone game rather than using their smartphone to be mindful. Here's the catch. Most people said they forgot about their work stress while playing the games, but during those mindfulness exercises, they focused on the stress. Makes sense, but I'm still going to use my Headspace app. A hiker in Canada is giving a big thank you to Metallica today. The 45-year-old woman was on a hike with her dog Murphy last month. She said she was a few miles into the woods when all of a sudden she realized they were being stalked by a cougar. She said she tried waving at the cougar, yelling at it, but it was standing its ground. So that's when she went into her phone and chose the loudest band she could think of. That's right, she played Metallica's Don't Tread on Me, and guess what? It worked. The cougar took off after a few notes of the song. And the woman kept the song playing for the rest of the hike, just in case. And hey, I want you to know we are going to continue to talk about what happened in Ohio and Texas this weekend. Like me, you may be feeling overwhelmed with sadness and anxiety, but I want to focus on how we can help the victims. One thing you can do is head to your local blood bank and donate blood. You can also go to Impact Your World. It supports 3 different organizations working to help the communities dealing with the shootings in El Paso and in Dayton. We'll put that link on our social platforms for you. This has been Fast Blast. Take care.
Welcome back to DBL. It's time for Fifth Host when we talk about exactly what you're talking about. In the wake of the recent mass shootings, a very surprising and bold cover is on the New York Post. It demands President Trump ban weapons of war. And in case you didn't know, Rupert Murdoch, who owns Fox News, also owns this paper. So DBL Nation, is it time for the U.S. to ban assault weapons? I'm going to say again, because they banned it for 10 years in '94. Crime went down by 43% with guns. It's gone up 239% since 2004 when it was expired.
Okay, and I would say that there's probably a toughness factor. Like if you just have like a gun that shoots one bullet, you know it's going to be much more difficult for you, you know, than
That's
just being able to just spray. Okay, Don from Facebook says, I turned in my assault weapon the day I left Vietnam. Thank you for your service, and have never needed one since. I have to live with what I did. Don, you were put in a tough situation. You were doing what you were told to do by the oath that you took. So I don't want you to take it out on yourself. The men made decisions, and it seems like a lot of them were the wrong one. We appreciate your service, and we appreciate you putting down your gun.
Yeah, and that was kill or be killed, not going into a Walmart.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So thank you, Don.
Good point.
Amy from Facebook says, I think it's pitiful that people actually think banning guns is going to stop the evil that is brewing in our country. Amy, our fifth host is about banning assault rifles. Like Al said, a deuce or a little handgun, you're not going to go in and you're not going to kill 9 people in 32 seconds by spraying what we just showed earlier in the first block, a 100-round magazine, and having an assault rifle with that. We should ban assault rifles. And this is coming from someone who grew up in Charlottesville, Virginia, with friends who had AR-15s and used to go shoot them in farms all the time.
Stephanie from Facebook says there is no reason for an individual to possess an assault rifle unless they're active in the military. For what other reason would you need that type of gun? Stephanie, I think we're all saying the same thing. I'm pretty sure America is saying the same thing. Nobody's saying take away the guns. These are not responsible gun owners that are doing this. Responsible gun owners don't do this. But nobody needs an assault rifle, especially one that you could get online that holds 100 rounds in it. I mean, like, I don't know why Congress is not in right now saying, hey, listen, some kind of crack was in the wall. People are buying these guns online. We have to stop this right now. Not say take away your right to bear arms. That is ridiculous, and we should be in Congress right now taking that law down.
Because if that's not the case, then why can't I order a grenade launcher online?
But I mean, what other reason then they're getting paid by some other source, you, NRA, that they're not doing this?
I have never agreed with you more. I think that Trump should have called a Senate session, and they should have called an emergency session and passed the bill that's already passed the House. I completely agree with you. Amanda from Facebook says it's time for people to stop trying to take away guns from law-abiding citizens. Criminals will find guns and aren't going to follow the laws. Amanda, thanks for writing in. You can use that excuse for every single law. Someone's not going to follow the law. That doesn't mean we don't enforce laws. That's crazy talk. At some point, every other country has video games. Every other country has mental illness, but not every country has double mass shootings in 13 hours. Something's wrong, and it's the guns. I want more. I want a gun buyback program. I think that's what they did in New Zealand after the mosque shooting, and a lot of people donated their guns. I know we won't get every gun, but we'll get many guns. I'm also for red flag laws, since I think that needs to be a major impact.
Yeah, it just kind of annoys me. It always comes back to the silly argument like taking people's guns away. That's like trying to take away all the socks in the United States. Like there is 3 guns for every person. That's 320 million times 3. So like no one's saying let's get rid of the guns.
And we've already done it.
We have knives in our house for our children. They're out of reach. We're saying keep these guns out of reach so you can't get them online.
Exactly.
That's insane to me, and I don't know why the government and everyone from there down, Democrat, Republican, is all on the same page. Having a gun that you could buy online with a 100 magazine clip is insane, and we live in this country. That's insane to me. I mean, I don't understand how you could disagree with me. Write in and tell me how you disagree. That's not insane. And then I'm going to call the FBI on you because you're insane.
And also call your senator and representative and say, talk to Mitch McConnell and put it on the floor. The bills are already there. Coming up on DBL, discover how a woman battling cancer was given a boost of confidence when she needed it the most. That's in Heart Threads. And later, she looks like an innocent teenager, but looks can be deceiving. Yeah, you'll never guess who she really is. That's later in the show.
Welcome back to DBL. Now it's time to put a smile on you all's faces. So today's Heart Threads is all about the power of a kind gesture. Watch how a group of cosmetology students stepped up to help a cancer patient feel beautiful.
This cancer patient was able to feel beautiful again after she received a special gift. When doctors told Joanne she had ovarian cancer and needed chemotherapy, she knew she would lose her hair.
She said it's not a question of if, it's when.
She asked for help from her friend and colleague, Shala. And Shala rallied her cosmetology students to aid her.
I said we can't do anything about the cancer, or we can't make her feel better physically, but we can give her some dignity.
They worked during and after school for 5 days to craft 3 wigs for Joanne and presented them to her on the final day.
When your hair is pretty, your nails are done, you just feel like you're on top of the world. So we really enjoy making somebody feel like that.
Even though her treatment is ongoing, Joanne won't have to worry about looks thanks to these students.
This means everything. This was amazing.
On days like this, we really need Heart Threads, right, y'all? Right? Yeah. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Naomi, she said I was talking about breaking to it, and I said no one will remember it. Naomi said she did. Naomi, that's why I love you.
Copy those files from the green packet.
What happened? She put her finger in my tea again. No, and I think that's unprofessional, hurtful.
Why is she wearing headphones?
Yeah, she is walking around like I don't know, like a DJ. She looks like the pink ghost in Pac-Man. She does.
That's a good one.
That's my girl.
I just played that somewhere the other day. That's what I'm saying at. And I was like,
is it weird?
It's hard.
Dude, does it give you anxiety?
Yeah.
I don't like it when they're right behind me.
What the
and
hell
I'm like,
was that? I just played it. But then they trap you, like in the corner, and it's over.
I don't know. There's like, I'm not a person that suffers from anxiety, but like Pac-Man does. It just, I don't like things chasing. I don't like that.
Oh, I was at my buddy. It was this weekend. My buddy has the mini Pac-Man game.
Oh, yeah.
Because now you can buy like the little arcade
Right,
game.
my son has
That's
that.
where it was. It's
Yeah.
super cool.
Yeah.
Like, that's weird you said that.
Isn't
'cause I
it
was
weird,
like,
this resurgence with, because like my kids who grew up with all this technology love old school stand-up video games. And I wonder what that is, because they have access to like
pinball.
Crazy, yeah.
Remember when we went to that thing?
Yeah, that's where I took my daughter.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I went to this place called Hyperspace here in Denver, and I like it because Dave and Buster's, like, they have fun games, but first of all, their games are. Did I ever tell you what happened to me one time with my daughter there?
I know where you're going. They're super expensive.
Dude, I took my oldest daughter and my oldest son to Dave and Buster's, and you know I put like a decent amount of money in their cards. Like, hey, you guys have been good. And so my daughter goes off, and I like run out, just like let them go play, and I'm eating at the bar. And she comes up and she's like, my car doesn't work. And I'm like, we've only been there for like 8 minutes. So I come back and I'm like, find the manager. And I'm like, I'm being stern but friendly. I'm like, hey, something's wrong. My daughter's trying to have a good time and her car doesn't work. He prints out this receipt. My daughter was playing the pull down thing where you get all those tickets.
Yeah.
But it's like $14 a pull, like 14 credits. And there was only like 100 and something on there. So she went through like $60 in probably like 7 or 8 minutes. And I had to do that when you're dead wrong after you've gotten the manager. And you're like, okay,
God.
I see, okay. Well, that's fine, and we're gonna just.
I won't be coming back.
Yes, I'm wrong. I'm embarrassed.
Yeah.
It was so, because I was like, I had that like, and can we check this out? Because, and I was like, he like black and white is just like, you can't argue, just like, oh no. Oh no.
Did you give her more money?
Yeah, I had to. We staying there, we only been there 10 minutes. I was like, I gotta kill this afternoon.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. You guys have been writing us in like crazy. I just wanted to read. Margot on YouTube said, better background checks and close all the loopholes, but don't mess with my guns. I'm a responsible gun owner. I'll be more than happy to take a psych and IQ test every 3 years.
Bravo, Margot. Well said.
Partisan as we can get right there.
Well, here's what's coming up next on DBL.
America's Got Talent judge Julianne Hough tells her husband she's not straight. How would you deal with this marriage bombshell? Then, Olivia Newton-John's cancer fight, the drug she turns to, and the iconic movie memorabilia she's selling to fund medical research. And what the? A basketball player's drug test says he's pregnant. An alleged bank robber's note gets him caught. And a gang leader's gender-bending disguise. Wild stories when DBL comes back. This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Because everyone's talking about this.
Always live, always real, always unpredictable.
You are totally off base here.
Log on and join our live conversation.
I can't believe I'm saying this. I do agree with you.
DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to Daily Blast Live. We're live. Let's get started. Julianne Hough is bearing it all on the cover of Women's Health. She looks fantastic. The Dancing with Stars champion tells the magazine that she has gone through a transformation, and it's brought her closer to her husband. She even told him, quote, "You know I'm not straight, right?" And he was like, "I'm sorry, what?" I was like, "I'm not, but I choose to be with you." How do we feel about this?
That was a good voiceover for a cartoon.
Thank you so much. Oh, it was too cartoony.
Because that goes to more of a deeper connection. It goes more to love than just anything where like, I like guys or I like women, that sort of thing. No, I love your spirit. I love your energy.
Brandon,
I love who you are as a person.
You ever seen The Wedding Singer?
Nah. Wait, Adam Sandler?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh, well, Jeff, you know, like.
Time.
Yes, but Jeff, what's the line that he says when she goes, "Hey, I wasn't sure if we should get married. That's why she didn't show up to the altar."
I don't know. Just tell me.
That was information I could have used yesterday.
Oh,
That's the best line in the whole movie. And honestly, that's something she should have told me. Now, there's a lot of guys that be like, "Hey, great, you like girls," but I'd look at my homie Jeff. I don't know. How would you take that if Jordan said that to you 2 years into your marriage?
I don't know. I don't know if I'd feel some type of way about that. Maybe I'm not doing something right sexually that she doesn't like. There's a lot of things that would pop in my head for the first time that she told me that, and especially me not knowing that, like her just telling me right now. So I think a couple things would go through my head, but he's in support of it. You know what I mean? If that's how their relationship works, I can't tell anybody how their relationship goes.
Switch it, right? So the guy comes out.
So I'm like,
you're like, yo, you know I'm not straight, right? 2 years later, all the girls would be like, how dare he do this and be with you if he wasn't? It would be a thing.
Kris Jenner didn't do it.
What's a double standard?
Kris Jenner didn't make a hoopla out of it.
She sure did.
She got season 12 right now, or season 28.
I'm just saying it's a double standard because when the woman does it, it's sexualized, right? Like lesbian has a sexual fantasy for men.
Okay.
But a man doing that, it's a different thing. It's almost like, what a jerk.
I kind of see what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
I kind of do see what you're saying.
How would Brooks react, your husband, if you told him 2 years in?
Well, I don't think he'd appreciate, you know I'm not straight, right? As if he was supposed to have known.
Right.
Like that's the part that gets me, is that right? Like if I didn't tell you, how are you supposed to know? So I think it was a little weird. I'm so glad it works for them. And again, Erica Cobb says don't mess in people's bedrooms. So if it works for them, that's great. I don't think it would work for us.
All right.
I'd beat my chest if I was him. I'd feel good about it.
I think a lot of guys would.
Absolutely. I just took you away from all the women out there. You know, like you could be with all those women.
Or so you
but
think.
You choose to be with
now she's telling you 2 years later, aren't you like, man, where were you last night? You know what I mean?
I was with Mandy.
Oh boy! All right.
Mandy. What? I know this. I was doing the other part.
He was in the commitment of the role. All right. Olivia Newton-John is battling cancer for the third time. She says marijuana has helped fight stage 4 breast cancer, and now she wants to give other patients that opportunity to try medical marijuana through her cancer center in Australia. In an interview, she says she's auctioning off some of her most iconic outfits to raise money for research. Wait till you see what she is auctioning.
I've worn them. They've given me an incredible career, and now I kiss them goodbye, and their value hopefully can help a lot of people going through cancer, so it's an easy choice.
So if you guys don't know, that is her Grease outfit when she changes into the bad Sandy in the black pants and the black leather jacket. She's auctioning that off to help out. So that is an iconic thing to give up.
Yeah.
I feel like this is like, was this like a story like 5 years ago? Aren't we already there?
You mean with marijuana and everything?
Yeah, like medical marijuana is legal in Australia, and that's where she's doing this. But it's like the last story. Don't tell somebody else about their relationship. Don't tell somebody with cancer how to fight their cancer. Like
that just shows the entitlement that people feel that they can comment on everything. I know that has a lot coming from
you
on TV telling people what I think. But I do think there are places that I don't go out of respect. I wouldn't be like, hey Jeff, let me tell you, you and Jordan, you guys should really look at Montessori schools. I don't know, but the homeschool is working for Lawson. Like, who am I?
Yeah.
I can't talk.
Don't worry, people on social media.
But that's my point. It's just like people feel way too comfortable like talking about things that don't affect them, but more importantly are affecting somebody's their lives are at peril, and they have an opinion on that.
That's how I feel when people want to end their lives with terminal illness and the government says they can't. I'm like, well, who are you to say that to someone who's already dying in terrible pain? So I often compare it to that because certain states are allowing that.
I wonder if she's going to get some sort of pushback or blowback from her fan base, because just think, Grease was way back in the day, and her fan base is a little older, and the stigma that the older generation has about marijuana. I remember one time, and my grandma's watching right now, so I know I'm gonna get in trouble. But one time we went into the house smelling like that pine sauce scent.
I don't know at all what you're saying.
You guys, you guys smell like that wacky tobacco. But they call it wacky tobacco back in the day, and the governor put out their propaganda.
But that don't mean they weren't using it. We were. I mean,
True.
Come on, man.
True.
The '60s. Come on, dog.
Yeah.
I mean, all those people are still around. They just had to act like I don't know what you're talking about. But we saw as soon as people were allowed to put a green cross in their window,
it was fine.
People started lining up.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's just all millennials.
So I just told on myself to my grandma.
Oh, and to your employer. Remember, people.
What's your grandma's name?
Wow. Doesn't even matter.
All right, Grandma. All right.
I'll see her this weekend.
All right, let's talk about a happy moment for Jenna Bush Hager and her family. Raquel Villanueva has some good news at the moment.
That's right, Tori. Jenna Bush Hager gave birth to a baby boy over the weekend. So everyone meet Henry Harold Hal Hager. Jenna says life has never been sweeter, and this is her third child with husband Henry Hager. So little Hal even got a presidential visit. Grandpa and former President George W. Bush, along with Grandma and former First Lady Laura Bush, made a visit. She told her Today co-anchors his sisters have already nicknamed him Hal Pal.
Hal Pal, isn't that cute?
Jeff, I have trouble saying your kid's name, Leighton and Lawson. I was just thinking Henry Hal, Henry Hepper, like hamburger helper, like good gracious.
It's a lot of H's, but mazel tov to the family.
Yeah,
That's
for
exciting.
sure, for sure.
Mazel.
Good for you.
Jeff.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right, Victoria's Secret has hired their first openly transgender model. Valentina Sampaio, she posted this photo of herself announcing the new gig. Now, if you don't, first of all, we don't know what someone else wasn't transgendered. Let's be honest. This is the first open transgendered. But Victoria's Secret has been the brand that is not very much interested in including people who are heavier or transgender or vitiligo. It took a while for people to start doing that. My friend started Third Love, and they called out Victoria's Secret for that in a New York Times page. And they said, you know, it doesn't matter, we're their first love. And Third Love said, we'll be their last love. And they show people with mastectomies and C-section scars and wide bands, so it gets bigger and bigger. At this point, is Victoria's Secret outdated completely? And it's just a desperate Hail Mary?
I think so. I think too little, too late. Because remember last year, their chief marketing officer had said that Victoria's Secret doesn't market to the world. They didn't want transgender women to walk in their fashion shows. So I look at this as something where it's like, hey, we're losing money. We got to figure out a way to appeal to the masses. So if you're going to do this, if you really care about transgender people and their rights, then make sure that you take some of those proceeds and you donate to charity, transgender charities and helplines, so you can help these kids that are getting bullied and even killed.
Or does it matter, right? So it's a business. They're going to do it for money. Maybe that's okay, even though there's now representation.
Right. And I agree with you guys. I'm just going to take the other side for argument's sakes. Isn't it their right to market to whoever they want to market to?
I don't even think that's the other side. I think that they're a business and they can run their business how they choose to.
Right.
And when you decide, like if you have a business, you say, I don't choose. It's just like if you have a hamburger shop and I'm like, Jeff, you have no vegetarian or vegan options. What are you doing here? And you're like, this is Jeff's burger shop.
Right.
If you want something else, and then I open Al's burger shop that's got plant-based.
But burgers and vegan isn't, can I say, personal to some women, right?
I would say being a vegan isn't personal, Sam
It is,
Shocker.
but when you say I'm not including people in your...
That is their decision as a company.
I can't agree with you on that one, man. Because look at it. Let's say it was something when it comes to black people, right? And now, like Hollywood wants to do Black Panther and they want to do all these black movies. But wouldn't you rather them double down in terms of Victoria's Secret and be like, you know what? Our brand is our brand. We're not going to sell to transgenders. We're not going to sell to people with a red foot. Wouldn't you rather that than, no, go ahead, let me just take your money. I'll go home and talk stuff about you.
See, my only issue with that, Brandon, is I feel like we have to give people a re-entry into society. If you say something stupid, we are all going to say something stupid because we're going to be on the air for a long time. Yeah. We're all going to say something stupid. If somebody goes, Jeff, you said that I'm done with you forever, well, then what's the point of ever doing this again? We have to give Victoria's Secret a chance to make a statement that we all kind of condemn, and they go back and kind of talk about it and be like, that's a little embarrassing. And when they come back and try and fix it, we've now given and then the next person that says something that's untoward, they don't feel like they're going to be an outcast from society. They feel like if you fix it and I come back and say, I'm sorry, hat in hand, can we do this again? Yeah. I'm all for giving people a path back.
I agree, but I kind of agree with Brandon in that if you are a brand, you can't just suddenly be like, we're not going to have transgender. Now we are. At some point, shouldn't you have said, we've rethought it through?
Isn't that what you want?
Yeah.
Yes,
Do you want it to take 20 years?
No, but I would like them to acknowledge that the last year they said they wouldn't. So what made them change would be a really nice transparent
New
moment.
information came in.
Maybe
as in our bottom, we're getting our butt kicked.
Maybe say that.
Someone at the top was like, you know what? Looking back, I was really ignorant about this. I didn't know anything about trans rights till I said this stupid thing. Now I do. I'm an idiot.
But as a woman who has big boobs that's going to go to Victoria's Secret, I'd rather hear we have new management. I would much rather go after hearing that than, yeah, now we're going to have them.
I get what you're saying, but it's like when someone apologizes for something, you're like, I didn't like the tone of his apology.
Right, it's still an apology.
Yeah, like, so they're doing the right thing, which I think is great for them. Like I said, I agree with you guys just for the other thing, but they could market to whoever they want. They don't want to be if they don't want to be the leader in that industry, then keep it, minimalized to who you're marketing to. If you want to go with everything, then you're the leader, but then you have to be conformative to other people, transgender, and things like that.
And everybody else. Yeah. Interesting. Well, let us know what you guys think. A new survey may have you second-guessing ordering food for delivery. U.S. Foods, I just ordered food, by the way. The U.S. Foods found that 28% of delivery drivers, basically 1 in 4, have eaten your food.
You had to know that.
I didn't think they ate it before. As a waiter, I ate it on the way to the kitchen. They had already eaten. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've totally done that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
LA days.
Fries. Ooh.
Listen, I wasn't making ends meet. You know, your friends over there, because you saw, like, hey, they're not finishing their sushi. You know what I mean? My friend comes over and they're like, were they clean? I'm like, yeah.
After the fact, I've paid my bill and I've left to go to the movie or go hang out sometime.
Right.
But doing it, like I order Grubhub all the time, and one of the delivery guys came and was like, "Hey man, enjoy that horchata." And I'm thinking like, "Ooh, this horchata is going to be great." But now that you know, there's some statistics I just don't want to know about and don't care to hear about. And now I'm rethinking that horchata.
First of all, Brandon, I find it hard to believe that like you can't find there's nothing in your mind that has some space where a stranger that's picking up some food for another stranger
to your house, that's true.
might not invest his whole well-being into your horchata. He's just like, I'm gonna eat this, drop this off to this random dude, and keep it moving. Hopefully the next person gets ice cream. Like,
how you not gonna eat a fry with an open bag?
You have strangers dropping off your food. I had a friend say that he saw the guy pull up and he got the food out of his trunk.
Oh,
I was like,
no.
Yeah, that's the thing, dude.
You can't have it in the trunk? What?
No, that's where you keep your spare.
Yeah, and your shoes.
There's
anyway,
oil back there.
Coming up on DBL, feng shui for the bedroom. Helpful tips to make the most of your space and get some sleep at the same time. And a basketball player's drug test comes back positive, but you won't believe why. What he tried to get away with coming up next.
Guys?
So when I order food, which is rare, but I do get a lot of
Le poke bowl.
I get a lot of poke bowls here. But it comes, first of all, it comes in a container like that, and then it comes folded over in the bag, stapled twice.
So that's what I feel, right. So I'd rather get that.
But as a company...
What if you find out it didn't come with the bag and then that's the driver?
He has bags in his trunk.
Yeah, they just get the regular
Oh, I mean, that's if you're a driver and you want to do that, that's smart.
And you know
nobody would know. But as a company, you should know that people are eating food and you staple that up. That should be part of your regimen.
You know what else I've seen? People with Ring videos watch the people eat
I saw
on
this
the thing.
too.
That's so bad.
I saw one where they delivered like a shake,
and they started
and he was drinking it at the door while they were doing it. It was your horchata.
What are you doing?
And they were drinking it on the Ring, and then they're like, "Here you go," and again, people just took it.
You know, I'm gonna go back to my Grubhub history now, and I need to figure out who that driver was.
Margot
He was
says,
like,
I'd rather
"Enjoy that horchata,
someone-
dog."
I'd rather someone keep my food in their trunk than in the front seat where you know they're farting and picking their boogers.
Wow, Margot?
Margot, just put that.
Margot just went there.
Margot, did you just give that brilliant comment right before that?
I know. She was like, full score and no more farts.
Totally redeemed yourself.
I think I'm really running out of the ability to just
Be
order
surprised.
food.
Oh.
From any- I just cook almost.
Me too, man.
You're becoming an adult, buddy.
I can't.
That's why
I've
I
worked
do
in
it.
too many kitchens. I know what's going on back there. You know it. What do you think they're?
And plus, I know what goes in
washing
there,
off like a
man.
surgeon going.
He says
to the
all
kitchen.
employees should wash their hands before returning to work.
Yeah, I think that's for you. I can't.
I walk out the bathroom feeling real safe.
I can't.
You can't think about that stuff.
No, you can't. 1 in 4.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back to DBL. Every now and then there's a headline that makes us scratch our heads and say, and ask ourselves, they tried to get away with what? I thought there'd be music. Okay.
Or
a sound at all. There was nothing. All right, like this bizarre video out of Brazil. Yeah, a gang leader tried to escape from prison by dressing up as his teenage daughter. The guards said they were suspicious of the woman leaving the facility because of how she was walking, not the creepy latex mask.
Man,
Smart idea.
Shame him like that though. That was creative. Come on now.
You know, it worked in Alcatraz when those guys made those fake heads.
Yeah.
They left.
Out of paper mache.
Out of paper mache.
And their own hair.
And their own hair.
I know.
I'm just going to repeat what you said.
You know, yeah, I love that movie. Escaping Alcatraz.
Oh,
with,
yeah.
What's his name? Clint Eastwood back in the day.
That's right.
I think that's what it's called. It's a good one. Check it out.
It's a good one. You guys think this was good?
How did they get the rubber mask into the facility? That's what I want to know. They don't get checked or something?
You don't want to know how
Yeah, I
to
don't think we
smuggle
wanna-
that stuff, dog.
Yeah.
You don't want to know.
Your prison pocket?
A Cleveland man is making headlines. You didn't even get calves in there. A Cleveland man is making headlines for his slip-up during a bank robbery. This guy, he wrote a note demanding money on the back of a DMV document, which had his name and address on it. Here's the best part. The bank teller realized it, addressed the subject by his first name, and then called the police.
I think that's the face he made when they called him Curtis. Like they must. I mean, that had like he he had a whole plan, a whole board in his house about his hideout and what he's gonna do.
Red string
And they
going
just-
everywhere.
You know what?
First,
I don't
middle,
think
and
he
last.
did, man.
You know?
I don't think he did it all.
He didn't even wear a mask, this guy.
Yeah, he should have talked to the other drug dealer.
You're
What did
right.
Rick James say on the Chappelle Show? Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Yeah, something. Yeah, that's a guy that wanted money and didn't have time to plan.
Always plan. Now, our last story, American basketball player DJ Cooper, yeah, he's looking for a new job. He was suspended from the European Professional Basketball League for failing a drug test. Oh, no. But here's where things get weird. DJ failed because the test said he was pregnant. Apparently, the urine he tried to use was his girlfriend's. What a way to find out your girlfriend is expecting. Mazel tov.
How do they not check for male versus female, but they check for pregnancy?
Well, I think the hormones that come
Like
up in it.
LCG hormones
yeah.
come up.
Yeah, it's not like they're not checking for actual baby, but just the hormones that are
Maybe they should, though.
in a pregnant woman's urine, I believe, are there.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so I've heard before, like when you're trying to skip these,
A friend told you.
Yeah, a friend told me.
Is his name
when you're trying to
Brandon
get over- No, absolutely not trying to get over on these drug tests. It has to be someone that's your same gender, and you have to keep it warm when you go do it. So I've heard. But come on, DJ. Come on, dog.
Wow.
I love it to this weird tropical music.
Yeah, I was
Thank
trying
you
to
for
tap
that.
dance the whole time, too. Like, never mind.
Coming up on DVL, tips for creating good vibes in the bedroom. How feng shui can go a long way for good night's sleep.
I'm Dr. John Kudrowski. I'm a professional ski mountaineer, mountain guide. I'm an author and a keynote speaker as well, and I've been up on Everest 4 times. Now I'm going to give you the 4 main things to consider when you're climbing Everest, and the first thing is travel. So when you're traveling over to climb Mount Everest, travel is about $2,000. You'll arrive in Kathmandu, and then if you're climbing the south side, you take a plane to Lukla and start trekking. If you're climbing the north side, you take a plane to Lhasa and you drive to base camp. Next is room and board. And for Mount Everest, there's a lot of little pieces to this. There's the trekking in to base camp. You can stay in really nice lodges and tea houses. Some of these expeditions have big dome tents with pool tables and ping pong tables and even a bar. Then you got to think about going up the mountain as well, and we have dining tents and cook tents in one of our camps called Advanced Base Camp, and then you also will be staying in a tent in the different camps. So there's a lot of lodging options, and this option costs you about $8,000. Now, what about the gear to climb Mount Everest? Because you're obviously not going to go up there in this. So the essential gear you're going to need to climb Mount Everest includes bottled oxygen, crampons to go on your boots, an ice axe, of course, and a big down suit to withstand the 30 or 40 below temperatures. Now, for the most important part of climbing Mount Everest, you're going to need a mountain guide. We'll also hire you a personal Sherpa, and those items will run you about $50,000, but they're very important. So on Everest, I've seen price ranges going from the low end, $50,000, the high end, $100,000. At the end of the day, you're gonna be dropping about 75 grand in order to climb the highest mountain in the world. Get ready to cash in your child's college fund, or maybe even mortgage your house. I'll see you on the summit.
Welcome back to DBL. Getting a good night's sleep is all I ever want, and a good sandwich. And creating harmony in the bedroom can make all the difference. Our very own Tori Shulman is tackling feng shui in the bedroom in today's So Close, sponsored by So Clean.
It's no secret, partnerships aren't easy, especially when you have to share the bedroom. Well, my husband and I have mastered the master bedroom. Get it? And I'm here to spread the good word. First off, it's all about symmetry, people. Get that bed away from that wall, get 2 side tables, turn off that pesky overhead light that nobody looks good in, and opt for 2 soft lamps instead. Now, when it comes to mirrors, some feng shui experts suggest leave them out of the bedroom. Apparently, they hold past energy and even hint at a third party meddling in your duo. Well, if you're one of those people like me that need a mirror in the bedroom, consider a circular one. It symbolizes continuity in your relationship. Another decor tip, get a headboard. It can actually connect you with your partner, and not having a headboard can make your relationship feel temporary, and nobody wants that. Lastly, invest in your sleep. Splurge on bedding that you are excited to snuggle in every night.
And for more ways to rest easy, call So Clean at 1-800-319-3713.
Roses are red, violets are blue. These are your tips to harmony in the bedroom. Now the rest, it's up to you. Mascara, I think.
Nailed it as always, Tori Shulman. Is it feng shui or feng shui? I don't know. I always say feng shui, but I think it's feng. We don't know. We'll be right back.
Oh my God.
We're talking about the keto diet. I'm sure a lot of you guys are either on it or have tried it. Our
keto.
executive producer Chris is going to be on it. Have you done the keto diet? You guys?
You got. I tell you.
Are you on the diet?
No, but you know what I'm starting to. I'm gonna start.
What?
Is that what do you call it? Remember, you can only eat like 8 hours a day.
Oh, the intermittent
fasting.
fasting.
Yeah, I'm gonna try that. Joe Rogan talks about that.
You
a
know,
lot.
Jimmy Kimmel lost like 50 pounds with that.
Really?
Kimmel wrote a whole thing on it.
Yeah, I went
He
to
lost
Vegas.
his big weight like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna
that's a
try
big
that.
deal.
I went to Vegas with my buddies, and I've been working out. I work out every day. My buddies are in good shape, and I'm like, man, I got fat. And they're like, what are you gonna do, man? You're getting older. I'm like, I want you to say I look good.
Yeah, you want me to argue with you. I hate when you say, don't I look fat? But you know what, doesn't matter. No, I don't look fat. Yeah.
Someone still loves you. You're like, that wasn't an answer.
Yeah, it's okay. We don't love you.
It's a weird thing, but like with the intermittent fasting, and just Jeff, I've told you this, but just for our viewers, I realized that I don't get hungry until like 11 o'clock because my buddy Bijou, who runs the chain of restaurants around here, he's written a couple books on diet and fitness because he used to be Lance Armstrong's personal chef. And he was just saying, you wake up and you eat at 8 o'clock in the morning because your mom fed you because that's what she was taught. You eat. But you already have calories stored in your body from the night before. You don't wake up on zero, like I need to eat.
Right.
But you're just so used to go downstairs, eat it, so now your body's already. So for me, I realized like I start getting hungry about 11 o'clock. So that's when my intermittent fasting starts. So I have my first meal.
You do 8 hours or 9 hours?
I do 8. So
Isn't that just skipping breakfast?
So my first meal is usually at 11. I'll eat again right after the show at 3, and then I'll eat one more thing at like 8, and then I'm good. I mean at 7, and I'm good.
7, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, you're done at, you can't eat past 7 if you don't eat till 11.
And you're not supposed to have anything, just water.
Juice.
After 11.
Yeah, they said like a coffee you're not supposed to, but if you need to curb your appetite. I'm just gonna try. I don't think any diet really works long term, but just trying something different, be like, hey, I got some results from this.
And a lot is the diet we're eating. You saw when we went on the 10-day challenge and we cut sugar and alcohol. Well, I cut some of the alcohol out, but we cut sugar. You see our body mass and our body fat index just drop like 2%.
Oh yeah,
so that works.
You just gotta, calories in and calories out. That's what works, But all these fad diets.
And that's why for me, I got that Apple Watch, and it changed everything because it just tells you like, did you stand for 12 hours a day? Like you can actually see, not like what you feel, but like what you've actually, what you've actually done.
I just finished a cross stitch, and I realized I had sat for like 50 hours making it.
Right.
That's disgusting how many, but I'm gonna show it to you, it's real pretty. It was worth it.
It's a good way to
Welcome back to Daily Blast Live. We want to give a big DBL shout out to retired pro football player Champ Bailey. The Denver Broncos legend was inducted into the Hall of Fame over the weekend, but it was his speech that really got us listening. Take a look.
So on behalf of all the black men that I've mentioned tonight, and many more out there, we say this to all of our white friends. When we tell you about our fears, please listen. When we tell you we're afraid for our kids, please listen. When we tell you there are many challenges we face because of the color of our skin, please listen.
So we are shooting in Denver. We are right now in Denver, and he is beloved amongst the Denver people. But what a
Bronco Nation.
Bronco Nation, thank you. But what a simple statement.
Yeah, he's one of those.
Listen.
He's one of those guys I wish I got to play against. I was in the league when he was in the league as well. But he also said that when people see you, they don't see you as a Hall of Fame cornerback. They see you as a black man first. And you know, and he was just talking about that the things that make us great on the field, our size and aggression, is what gets us killed off the field as well. So
I gotta
be
say,
woke.
Brandon, I've seen Megan Rapinoe. We just saw Alejandra Bedoya get to the mic and say, end gun violence, Congress. We're seeing this athlete speak out about it. Athletes have become a type of political pundit in some respects.
We have to, because just think of, you know, your sports background playing football. You got along with everybody in the locker room, and that's what life is. It's a locker room.
Wow. All right, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place.
Welcome back to Daily Blast Live. Budgetologist Felicia Jones is back in the studio, and she is answering your questions about retirement in today's Dollars and Cents, presented by John Hancock. Felicia, always good to have you back in studio here.
How are you?
I'm very good. I'm very good. Yeah. Let's take some viewer questions. Karen on Facebook says, my job does not offer a retirement plan. Should I contribute to a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA? Please help. And now, Felicia, could you explain to our audience, because of course I know what an IRA is. What is an IRA?
An IRA is an individual retirement account.
Okay. So that makes sense.
That makes sense. Now, the thing when it comes to the IRAs, you have to decide how you want to handle taxes.
Okay.
And I like to follow the now or later rule. Either you pay taxes now or you pay taxes later when it comes to how you want to manage your money. So one of the things you got to think about with the Roth IRA is that you start contributing with after-tax dollars. You have you can do tax advantage growth, and when you're in retirement, you don't pay taxes on any other money.
Oh, really? Yeah. You mean when you pull it out?
When you pull it out with a Roth IRA, you have more flexibility with early withdrawals, but you do not have to pay taxes on it yet.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, that's great.
Because I feel like you always get taxed a couple times when you're putting your money away and things like that.
Yes. Now, with the traditional IRAs, that's where you pay taxes later. So right now, if you contribute to a traditional IRA, you get tax deductions. So you don't have to pay taxes on it. Now, you do have a few more early withdrawal penalties and things you have to think about.
Right.
But later on in life, that's when you take when you have to pay the taxes.
And is that what you're going to suggest people do?
No, I suggest actually the Roth IRA. The Roth IRA is actually better for savers because you are at a lower tax rate right now. Now, the traditional is better for those at a higher tax rate.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Because everyone's talking about this.
Always live, always real, always unpredictable.
You are totally off base here.
Log on and join our live conversation.
You think this hair just naturally stays like this?
DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to Daily Blast Live. It's Monday, August 5th. I'm here with Erica, Tori, and Al. I'm Jeff. A lot to get to, guys. Let's get right to it. We are all reeling from the two mass shootings in the span of just 13 hours that left 31 people dead and many more wounded. Surveillance video of the second mass shooting in Dayton, Ohio shows people running for their lives. And you could see in this other surveillance video, police officers running towards the shooting. We really respect you guys as police officers. This is amazing. They're responding with their guns drawn. They stopped the shooter in less than 30 seconds. And a quick note, we are at DBL, as always, choosing not to show you the portion that shows the gunman being taken down. We do not show pictures or video of the gunman, which I really respect about that. I think every news outlet needs to follow our lead, to be quite honest with you. There's no notoriety in it. There's no names, no Netflix special 5 years from now, nothing. They're dust in the wind in society, but we do need to react about how we reacted ourselves this weekend. Where were you, Al?
I was at home. Took the weekend off, not traveling this weekend, and I got the news of the first shooting, and processed it, got ready for the show, which is kind of scary. Guys, like I see a school shooting, I'm like, okay, well, I'm already in DBL mode,
right,
even though I'm at home. And right before I went to bed, I refreshed, I was on CNN, and I refreshed the feed to see if, any updates. And then it replaced, then Dayton was on there. And I was like, how embarrassing for CNN that they misspelled the name. And then I realized that it was another city, and this was another tragedy. And I just couldn't, it took me a second. I was by myself, and I was just like, what? It was inexplicable.
Yeah, I put a Never Again shirt on to say a prayer to the El Paso victims, got into bed. Before I shut the light off, Dayton had occurred. So I couldn't even wear my Never Again shirt without it happening never again. It happened within 13 hours. When the president has to tweet about 2 mass shootings in one tweet, it's a bad night.
I was in Vegas when I found out, and I thought one of my friends told me about El Paso, and then when my other friend told me about Dayton, I'm like, no, El Paso. And they're like, no, what? And he didn't know about the first one, and so we're like, wait, what? There was 2, and we couldn't wrap our heads around it. And I was like, oh my goodness.
I spent 6 hours at the gun range. I did 3 hours of classes about gun safety and training, and then I spent 3 hours shooting a 9mm. And that's how I decided to cope with it. Because one thing that I've realized has been a theme in my life lately is victim, and I'm not going to sit around once again and just feel like there's nothing I can do to help myself. I haven't been super open about this, but I had someone trespass on my home, and that changes you when you're hiding in a closet calling 911. So I'm choosing to be more proactive about my personal safety and more vigilant about my mental affairs, because I think that there's so little that we feel like is in our control, that maybe what happened yesterday was the first time that I felt a little bit more in control. So yes, I am for sensible gun laws. I am for gun control, but I'm also for Americans being able to protect themselves if they need to do so.
And we're going to get to all that for sure. But let's talk about the victims, guys, including Jordan and Andre Anchando, who died bravely shielding their infant son in El Paso. Their son lived, but sadly both parents lost their lives. And in Ohio, one of the victims who was killed by the shooter was actually his own sister, Megan.
Yeah, in a car with her boyfriend. I also want to just bring up, this isn't a victim, it's a hero. This is Glenn Oakley, and I want to just a huge amount of respect for this man. You guys might have seen him go viral. He's a retired, he's off-duty soldier, was in the Foot Locker, heard the gunshots, ran out, and picked up a gaggle of kids who didn't have parents around, who looked absolutely clueless, took as many as he could in his arms, dragged them to safety, then showed the cop about his gun and said, I have this ready to license, had it out, ready. That man protected Americans' lives. So I'd rather show him, Glenn Oakley, than anything about this.
Absolutely, and there's a lot of heroes in this, sadly, with a mass tragedy, I don't even know how to describe these anymore, comes humanity. And then people lined up outside Red Crosses, donating blood because that's what they needed in El Paso. They were running short on blood. So heroes emerge when cowardless humans feel the need to do this. And I don't know where, I mean, I guess we could just start at gun control, kind of like jumping off of what Erica said. I don't know what we need to do because it seems like our government isn't doing much.
So let's take a look really quickly at the gun in Dayton that was used. I just want to show you guys. This is the 100 clip that this person used. That's the actual
100 clip
gun.
magazine.
Right. So on the bottom left, you can see all the rounds. That is insane. And if you didn't know, in 1994, we banned, with Republicans and Democrats, a bipartisan federal assault weapons ban. It lasted to 2004, and weapon shootings went down 43%. It expired, and Congress let it expire. Right now, on Mitch McConnell's desk are 2 bills, one with a universal background check. 90% of Americans agree with it. He's yet to bring it to the floor.
But here's the thing, and to go back to Erica's point, Erica feels like she's protecting herself. That's how she feels an American.
Absolutely.
I'm totally with you on on, Erica. I'm all for guns. I'm not saying ban guns. I don't think a lot of people are saying ban guns. I think a lot of people are just having that debate online because they feel like whenever you say let's get some gun laws involved, people want to fight each other about that. When you could order a gun like you just saw, we could put it back up.
He did.
He ordered it online that holds 100 bullets in its magazine. What do you need something like that for? We didn't fight Vietnam with something like that.
I think it's most telling the fact that this massacre, and most last under 2 minutes, lasted 30 seconds and 9 people lost their lives.
Yeah.
That he was taken down in 30 seconds and 9 people lost their lives.
What if it was 90 seconds, Erica?
Yeah. Which, I mean, we know what would have happened.
Right.
But here's the other thing that we're not talking about. Yes, everybody gets on social media and we hash it out. Most of us don't know jack about what we're talking about. We either don't know what the other side of the issue truly is, because when you talk about guns and people start screaming about gun reform, and rightfully so, and I agree, but you can't have the conversation until you truly know what you're talking about. I really thought I did understand firearms, and I thought I understood the Second Amendment. And then I went a step further in order to be a real student of what we are so obsessed with in this country, guns and firearms. And that's changing me on a minute-by-minute basis. The idea that we have politicians and entertainers who, with all due respect, may have the best intentions, but you're talking to people who can't afford public safety like you can afford. You are okay with people having guns to protect you as long as they're not a normal citizen. Your bodyguard is a normal American citizen.
And I do hear
but this is what I'm saying. This is something we're too scared to say, and I'm just going to say it. Let's just be honest, however you feel, because if it's your feelings and that's how you're feeling about your personal and mental safety, then everyone should be acknowledged, and then we can come and have a conversation and have everything open and on the table.
And I agree with you, but we have 90% of Americans agreeing with something, and it's still not being acknowledged. No one in America agrees with anyone at 90%. That is a crazy number. Republicans, Democrats say full federal universal background check and a federal registry so I can check just like any other thing. That is sitting on McConnell's desk. So when you say, can we start the conversation, people don't know what they're saying. This is the most basic step, and we still can't get that into the Congress. That is a dead stall.
Well, I think you guys are having two different conversations. That's the issue. Erica's talking about personal safety, and I think a lot of times when the people write in like, hey, you're not taking my guns, what they're really saying is you're not taking away my right to defend my family. They're not saying you're not taking away my right to rob a bank if I choose. So that's where Erica's coming from. What you're talking about, Tori, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you're talking about more of an expansive program in which we can regulate background checks, check for mental health, which I think most people are on. So Erica agrees with you. You agree with Erica. It's her right to defend herself as she chooses. But it seems like you guys are having a debate when you're really just having two different conversations.
And that's exactly what's happening everywhere. That's exactly, like, we hear one thing that we don't like and we shut down the whole thing. It's like we can't just shut down everything because there's something that we don't agree with in the basket. The more transparent, that's the key to everything. The more transparency that we have about what our feelings are and not feel like we're going to be ridiculed because our feelings don't align with some agenda or some political party, that's when the conversation stops. And when we stop having the conversation, that's when we get the difference between overt and covert. And right now, people are being emboldened to be very overt and proactive about crazy things that make no sense to the majority of us. But we need to be overt about everything that we're thinking, because I don't think that anyone's 100% wrong, and I don't think anyone's 100% right.
Yeah, I guess I just don't understand when you say we're having the same conversation. It seems like DC isn't even part of that conversation. So if I'm just talking about the most basic common sense, like don't do it online.
Right.
And I'm not trying to shut down or because I don't like something. What I'm saying is we all agree on one thing and we still can't get that done.
I just want to get to the president.
Yes, please. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Talking this morning because he did condemn white supremacy for the very first time since taking office. Let's take a look at that.
Our nation must condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy. These sinister ideologies must be defeated. Hate has no place in America.
And he also called for stronger background checks, which we were all just talking about, tweeting Republicans and Democrats must come together and get strong background checks, perhaps marrying this legislation with desperately needed immigration reform. So take the immigration reform out of that because he was doing so well there. But, you know what I mean? I think everyone. Erica, as a gun owner, I could speak for my father who's a gun owner. He goes hunting all the time, so all the hunters out there, all the people who want to protect themselves. If they give you a mental health check every year or two and they said, these bullets are going to belong to you, you have to register your own bullets in your gun, would you have a problem with any of that?
No, I wouldn't have a problem with any of that.
Right, so I mean.
But most people wouldn't have a problem
That's what I'm saying. I think responsible gun owners are not doing these mass shootings. They're being responsible. So I'm not saying take the guns away from them, but no responsible person has a gun that holds 100 bullets. You don't need that. You don't need that.
No, not only do you not need that, I happen to think, and this might just be me, and I'm speaking from my own point of view, that President Trump has fanned the flames to a point in which he's complicit. This is a video from May. It's only August, okay? This is in Daytona Beach, speaking about how to keep immigrants out of our country. Listen to the crowd.
But how do you stop these people? You can't. There's no. That's only in the panhandle you can get away with that statement.
So when you use inciting words like infestation, invading, when you talk about S-hole countries and you don't condemn Nazis, this will trickle down. The man's own manifesto, the El Paso shooter, has quotes from Trump's tweets. So it starts from there and then it lights a flame and it's a race war before you even know it.
But I mean, I think just using Trump as a lightning rod is the easy place to go because of, but I mean, I think what Trump did.
If you don't, I think you're ignoring an enormous problem.
What I think Trump did was he showed us an enormous problem. I think a lot of people were sitting at home on election night and could not believe the number of votes that he received because we did not, and those people were not being talked to.
But did he not just give the green light for them?
Yes.
I get that he's bringing them up. But
I'm just saying, I'm glad to know that they're there. I'm glad to know that they're there.
But our leader just opened the door to them. That's okay with you?
He's been doing that the entire time, and it's better to know.
And I'm going to challenge him every single time.
I think no matter who's the president, and just to back the president a little bit, because I don't want to get too one-sided, there was mass shootings with Obama, no matter who the president was.
But white supremacy, terrorism has risen.
And he just condemned them for the first time. Of course, it's way too late, but he did condemn them. So we have to give credit where credit's due.
I'm not going to give credit. I think he incited this, and it's his problem to start with. I do. I'm going to. That's my opinion.
That's the debate we're all having right now, whether you're here or you're at home. And DBL is live, and you know what? The conversation about gun violence will continue.
Never stop.
That's right. The conservative-leaning New York Post says America should ban weapons of war. We share your comments about that in Fifth Host next. Then Olivia Newton-John gives her fans an update on her breast cancer diagnosis. Wait till you hear what she takes to help fight the disease. And 1 in 4 food delivery drivers admits to doing this. We'll tell you what it is later in the show.
Guys, we're continuing the gun debate. I feel like we could just record me saying that, and then I could go home. I mean, it's just like it affects us too in terms of talking about it. But I do feel like our conversations have progressed since season 1, where we're not just kind of going over the same talking points. Where Erica being so honest about personal protection and not wanting to feel like a victim. It's I don't feel like this country is doing a great job of protecting its citizens. I feel like the people that have been able to stop some of these shootings, like the police getting there in 30 seconds, that's incredible. But I mean, I think that they were already there for some other reason.
They were around the corner. Yeah.
They were around the corner, but I mean, and that's great luck on our part. But I don't know if I want to depend on that. What if he had 3 minutes?
I can't imagine the founding fathers would be. Like the guns change, so why don't the laws change, right? Like if it's muskets to an AK-47, maybe change the laws.
That's what I've been saying.
You know what I'm saying? It makes
they didn't when they had those guns. They weren't preparing for the future that you could order a gun online that has a 100-round clip in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're talking about muskets, and it's okay to protect yourself. I mean, I don't know. It's just like this. I'm reading the question. I don't think we're gonna get to it because we don't have a lot of time. But it says criminals will find guns and aren't going to follow the laws. you're probably right. There's going to be criminals, there's going to be guns, even if we take all the way. But guess what? I have knives in my house. I don't put them on the floor for my kids to play with. I make it more difficult for the kids to get to. Make it more difficult for people to get these assault weapons instead of Amazon delivering it to your door.
And being like, there's nothing we can do about it.
You know, that's insane that they're not all together right now in a room somewhere. And like, this kid ordered this online with 100 mag. I didn't even know people made those. Welcome back to DBL. Time for Fifth Host, and we talk about what you're talking about, and I think everyone's talking about this today. In the wake of the recent mass shootings, a very bold cover is on the New York Post. It demands President Trump ban weapons of war. And in case you didn't know, Rupert Murdoch, who owns Fox News, also owns that particular paper. So, DBL Nation, is it time for the U.S. to ban assault weapons?
All right, Don from Facebook says, I turned in my assault weapon the day I left Vietnam. I have never needed one since. I have to live with what I did. Don, I think you're talking about the very real side of what people don't think about when you own a weapon. You have to be ready to use it. And that's just the truth. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. I do think it's a major step that Rupert Murdoch is making this step, and I think that we're going to see some form of change soon.
I hope so.
Let's hope, Cubby. Amy from Facebook says, I think it's pitiful that people actually think banning guns is going to stop the evil that is brewing in our country. Amy, nothing stops anything completely. Nothing in this world is 100%, so you don't sacrifice the good and in place of the perfect. I think what we're just trying to do is just trying to find little steps to prevent us having to do shows like this. We would much rather be talking about a new flavor of Dorito and something that J-Lo did at her birthday.
It's very true. And I think it's pitiful to not do anything, right? Stephanie from Facebook says there's no reason for an individual to possess an assault rifle unless they're actively in the military. For what other reason would you need that type of gun? I completely agree, Stephanie, with you. In the Second Amendment, it also says a well-regulated militia. People forget that. This doesn't seem well-regulated to me. If the guns have changed, the laws have changed. It's not a musket anymore, it's an AK-47. I think actually Trump is for banning bump stocks, and it's a little bit more liberal and progressive than actually Mitch McConnell. So look to Trump to actually say, I hope we get rid of these high-capacity magazines, but it's Mitch that needs to get it on the floor. So put pressure on your senators and representatives.
What is he?
I know, Jeff. I was just thinking that.
What is deterring him from putting this on the floor?
That's
why Jeff, he blocked the safer elections. That was a bipartisan bill that we both agreed on. He blocked that as well.
He's now known as not only Moscow Mitch, it's Massacre Mitch, because people are saying you're complicit in this.
He doesn't care.
It's just, I mean, like, who is funding him or who is backing them? These politicians that they choose to do nothing when things are going like this on every day.
It's the worst part of Washington, D.C., and I say that with
and I say it all the time, and that's what I think of our country. That's what I think.
A lot of people do.
D.C. Coming up on DBL, discover how a woman battling cancer was given a boost of confidence when she needed it the most. We need some heart threads. That's coming up next.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. And later, she looks like an innocent teenager, but looks can be deceiving. You'll never guess who that really is. That's later in the show.
Hey guys, Kelly Schuberth here with the DBL Digital team. I'm tracking all the breaking and trending news for you, but right now it's time for Fast Blast, where I give you all the news you need to know in under 2 minutes. Here we go. Check this out. A French inventor has successfully crossed the English Channel on a jet-powered hoverboard. Now, he tried this last month but missed the landing platform, but this time, the trek took him just over 20 minutes, and he says his legs were burning. But hey, we don't want you to confuse this with the man who flew across the Sydney Harbor on a jetpack last month. That's obviously super cool too, but not quite as cool as balancing on a hoverboard in the air for 20 minutes. Are you addicted to Candy Crush? It may not be as big of a problem as you think. A new study out of the UK says smartphone games may actually ease stress better than mindfulness apps. So does this mean playing that Best Fiends game that everyone is talking about will help with my stress more than the Headspace app? This seems crazy, but in the study, more people felt energized after playing a smartphone game rather than using their smartphone to be mindful. Here's the catch. Most people said they forgot about their work stress while playing the games, but during those mindfulness exercises, they focused on the stress. Makes sense, but I'm still going to use my Headspace app. A hiker in Canada is giving a big thank you to Metallica today. The 45-year-old woman was on a hike with her dog Murphy last month. She said she was a few miles into the woods when all of a sudden she realized they were being stalked by a cougar. She said she tried waving at the cougar, yelling at it, but it was standing its ground. So that's when she went into her phone and chose the loudest band she could think of. That's right, she played Metallica's Don't Tread on Me, and guess what? It worked. The cougar took off after a few notes of the song. And the woman kept the song playing for the rest of the hike, just in case. And hey, I want you to know we are going to continue to talk about what happened in Ohio and Texas this weekend. Like me, you may be feeling overwhelmed with sadness and anxiety, but I want to focus on how we can help the victims. One thing you can do is head to your local blood bank and donate blood. You can also go to Impact Your World. It supports 3 different organizations working to help the communities dealing with the shooting.
Welcome back to DBL. Now it's time to put a smile on you all's faces. So today's Heart Threads is all about the power of a kind gesture. Watch how a group of cosmetology students stepped up to help a cancer patient feel beautiful.
This cancer patient was able to feel beautiful again after she received a special gift. When doctors told Joanne she had ovarian cancer and needed chemotherapy, she knew she would lose her hair.
She said it's not a question of if, it's when.
She asked for help from her friend and colleague, Shala. And Shala rallied her cosmetology students to aid her.
I said we can't do anything about the cancer, or we can't make her feel better physically, but we can give her some dignity.
They worked during and after school for 5 days to craft 3 wigs for Joanne and presented them to her on the final day.
When your hair is pretty, your nails are done, you just feel like you're on top of the world. So we really enjoy making somebody feel like that.
Even though her treatment is ongoing, Joanne won't have to worry about looks thanks to these students.
This means everything. This was amazing.
On days like this, we really need Heart Threads, right, y'all? Right? Yeah. We'll be right back.
Naomi, she said she remembered. I was talking about breaking into it, and I said no one will remember it. Naomi said she did. Naomi, that's why I love you.
Copy those files from the green packet.
What happened? She put her finger in my tea again. No, and I think that's unprofessional, hurtful.
I want that. Why is she wearing headphones?
Yeah, she is walking around like I don't know, like a DJ. She looks like the pink ghost in Pac-Man. She does.
That's a good one.
That's my girl.
I just played that somewhere the other day. That's what I'm saying that. And I was like,
is it weird?
It's hard.
Dude, does it give you anxiety?
Yeah.
I don't like it when they're right behind me.
What the
and
hell
I'm like,
was that? I just played it. But then they trap you, like in the corner, and it's over.
It's weird. I don't know. There's like, I'm not a person that suffers from anxiety, but like Pac-Man does. It just, I don't like things chasing. I don't like that.
Oh, I was at my buddy. It was this weekend. My buddy has the mini Pac-Man game.
Oh, yeah.
Because now you could buy like the little arcade
Right,
game.
my son has
That's
that.
where it was. It's super cool.
Yeah.
Like, that's weird you said that.
Isn't
I
it
was like,
weird,
wait.
this resurgence with, because like my kids who grew up with all this technology love old school stand-up video games. And I wonder what that is, because they have access to like
pinball.
Crazy, yeah.
Remember when we went to that thing?
Yeah, that's where I took my daughter.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I went to this place called Hyperspace here in Denver, and I like it because Dave and Buster's, like, they have fun games, but first of all, their games are. Did I ever tell you what happened to me one time with my daughter there?
I know where you're going. They're super expensive.
Dude, I took my oldest daughter and my oldest son to Dave and Buster's, and you know I put like a decent amount of money in their cars. Like, hey, you guys have been good. And so my daughter goes off, and I like run, I just like let them go play, and I'm eating at the bar, And she comes up and she's like, my car doesn't work. And I'm like, we've only been there for like 8 minutes. So I come back and I'm like, find the manager. And I'm like, I'm being stern but friendly. I'm like, hey, something's wrong. My daughter's trying to have a good time and her car doesn't work. He prints out this receipt. My daughter was playing the pull down thing where you get all those tickets, but it's like $14 a pull, like 14 credits, and there was only like 100 and something on there. So she went through like $60 in probably like 7 or 8 minutes, and I had to do that when you're dead wrong after you've gotten the manager. And you're like, okay, God. I see. Okay, well, we're gonna. That's fine, and we're gonna just.
I won't be coming back.
Yes, I'm wrong. I'm embarrassed. Yeah. It was so. Because I was like, I had that like, and can we check this out? Because and I was like, he like black and white is just like you can't argue. You're just like, oh no, oh no.
Did you give her more money?
Yeah, I had to. We staying there. We only been there 10 minutes. I was like, I gotta kill this afternoon.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments, right, T-Bone?
We sure do. Donnie says the conversation about gun control and violence starts with all of us at home. We all need to take a hard look in the mirror. Lucas says, I'm a proud vet, Republican, and a supporter of common sense gun laws. Don't take away my handguns, but do take weapons of war. I looked it up too. Rupert Murdoch, the very conservative gentleman who owns that paper, actually has stood up against assault weapons since 2012. So he has definitely gone away from that and been a supporter of the assault weapons ban.
Well, hopefully this time something gets done. It's always this time, right? Here's what's coming up next on DBL.
America's Got Talent judge Julianne Hough tells her husband she's not straight. How would you deal with this marriage bombshell? Then, Olivia Newton-John's cancer fight, the drug she turns to, and the iconic movie memorabilia she's selling to fund medical research. And what the? A basketball player's drug test says he's pregnant. An alleged bank robber's note gets him caught. And a gang leader's gender-bending disguise. Wild stories when DBL comes back.
Okay, at DBL Nation, I have a weekend box office update. So Lion King has been dominating for a few weeks now, but The Fast and Furious came in and totally raced to the top. It is now the top box office movie this week. And I know that for a fact because I tried to go this weekend and there were no seats that you could actually see it on. Tried 3 different theaters. So I don't know if it's any good. So if someone out there saw it, please let me know. I want to know if I should definitely check it out. And some fun facts about this. Did you know the Fast and the Furious franchise is 18 years old? It's ready to go to college. That's how old it is right now. It has graduated high school and ready to live in a dorm. And Lion King is a little older, more than 20 years old, came out in 1994. So it's kind of like, I'm wondering if there's something out there that's gonna take over that isn't kind of a remake or a franchise, something new, something original. If you have any recommendations on that, any new movies coming out that you want to see that you would recommend to me, I'm going to go see The Peanut Butter Falcon tonight. And that really, Travis shaking his head, I'm really excited. I've heard that's really good. It's going to be like a short film, but we'll see how it goes. I will report back to you tomorrow, and I will talk to you later. Bye.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Because everyone's talking about this.
Always live, always real, always unpredictable.
You are totally off base here.
Log on and join our live conversation.
You think this hair just naturally stays like this?
DBL starts right now.
Welcome to Daily Blast Live. We are live. Let's jump right in, guys. Julianne Hough is bearing it all on the cover of Women's Health. The Dancing with the Stars champion tells the magazine that she has gone through a transformation and it's brought her closer to her husband. She even told him, quote, "You know I'm not straight, right?" And he was like, "I'm sorry, what?" And I was like, "I'm not.
Stop acting."
But I choose to be with you."
There you go.
There you go. I tried to paint you a little picture there.
It was good.
I think it's good to say 2 years in.
Yeah, what's up? I don't know about that one.
That's a conversation that you needed to have the week before the marriage, maybe a year before the marriage. Because honestly, it seems like he handled that well. But what she really did is she took away his ability to make a decision. Because, I mean, it's very rare that he's going to divorce her. But now she's kind of put him in a position where, like, now he knows this. So do I just know this information going forward, just like I know a random fact about squirrels? Or are you going to take this information and say, well, now that you know this about me,
I want to act on it.
I want to act on it.
I mean, yeah, because she said right, as if, like, he should have known. That's the part I didn't get when she said, "You know I'm not straight, right?" Well, how would he know if you hadn't told him?
See, what I took from the article was that she has evolved in a way and become the most authentic version of herself. She's no longer hiding. She came from a very conservative background. She may not have known that she wasn't 100% straight, but guess what? A lot of people aren't 100% straight.
100% anything.
Yeah, so you have to choose. So she's saying, we all say this when we say I do. I am a person. I am attracted and people are attracted to me. I choose you. That doesn't mean anything different just because you say that you're not 100%
But if it doesn't
straight.
mean anything, then why tell him?
Yeah.
Because I think when you have a soulmate, you're honest in a way that freaks you out and makes you vulnerable. Like there is something to vulnerability with another person where someone can really see you and truly destroy you in a way that no one else has ever been given license to do that. I can totally understand that because I'm out of my comfort zone in love.
Right.
Right. I am, but I mean, that's the truth. When you get real with someone, then it means that you're going to be uncomfortable.
So you guys are all married. Anthony says this to you 2 years in. You know I'm not straight, right? What's your initial reaction?
I guess the next question would be, well, what are you?
Because I think there is a double standard if a guy said that. I think women who say, "I'm not straight," tend to be sexualized as a fantasy. But if a man was like 2 years in, I'm like, "You know I'm not straight, right?" People would be like all up in arms about it. Like, how could he not tell you? How could that happen? I think if it was switched, it'd be different because of society, not because of anything else.
Yeah, but you know what? Bottom line is, are they happy? And it seems they are.
Yes.
He followed it up with
I think they're going to be okay.
With an Instagram message supporting her. So that what happens to them is their business. I'm glad they're happy. All right, guys. Olivia Newton-John is battling cancer for a third time, and she says marijuana has helped fight stage 4 breast cancer. Now she wants to give other patients the opportunity to try medical marijuana through her cancer center in Australia. In an interview, she says she's auctioning off some of her iconic outfits to raise money for research. Let's watch.
I've worn them. They've given me an incredible career, and now I kiss them goodbye, and their value hopefully can help a lot of people going through cancer, so it's an easy choice.
If you guys don't know, that was her Grease, Sandy, Cool, Bad.
You're the one that I want.
You're the one that I want. You're the one that I want.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know if you...
They were going to just play us out. They were going to end the show. They're going to end the show.
End of DBL, but it was her cool jacket and the pants
Yeah, the
that she had to be
leather
like stripped into. And that's the most iconic Olivia Newton-John, other than Let's Get Physical, like that leotard, that you could ever have. So she strongly believes in it. I wish there was more money into research for this. But
How
she's
is there
You
not?
get stripped into clothes?
She literally had to be like painted in. They like had to put in the seam into those pants.
Wow.
Is strip the right word?
No.
Anyways, good for her. Again, we're talking about people's relationships and what we should do in their bedroom. How are you going to tell somebody how they battle stage 4 cancer?
That's entitlement on a level that your brain cannot wrap itself around, Jeff. I know you're going through stage 4, but let me break this down for you.
Let me break this down for you.
Oh, my
Let me tell you what you're
goodness.
not going to do.
But she does think marijuana is helping cure her, and that's a different take. So she's doing research on her own cancer center, which she's trying to raise money. And there are people who believe that, and science needs to do more research.
I have a friend of mine, or ours, I should say, that has throat cancer, went through all the radiation and things like that, and he's using marijuana now to cope with the effects of that. And he says it works for him, you know? So
that's all I need
he's
to
doing
hear.
all right now. And hey, to each their own. Like I just said, if you
And
have cancer,
let's hope not to each their own. Let's hope that your friend finds that this works and then it works for another
and same with
100,000 people.
Newton-John.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right, guys, let's talk about a moment, a happy moment, I should say, for Jenna Bush Hager and her family. Let's get up to Raquel Villanueva with news at the moment.
That's right, Jeff. Jenna Bush Hager gave birth to a baby boy over the weekend. So everyone meet Henry Harold Hal Hager. Jenna says life has never been sweeter, and this is her third child with husband Harry Hager. Little Hal even got a presidential visit. Grandpa, former President George W. Bush, along with Grandma and former First Lady Laura Bush, made a visit. Now, she told her Today co-anchors his big sisters have already nicknamed him Hal Pal.
Thanks, Raquel. Hal Pal.
I don't like that.
You don't like it?
I got a better nickname.
What?
Haha.
Why?
Ha-ha.
Like ha-ha Clinton Dix?
Hager. Oh, I see.
And there's a famous football cornerback named Ha-ha Clinton Dix.
He's on the Chicago Bears.
You don't think you'd be worried people are just literally laughing at you? Ha ha!
When you're the grandson of a president, no one's laughing at you.
Your name should be Ha-ha.
I was just saying, I get
a couple more laughs.
Oh, man.
You knew that was coming?
Yeah.
Hey, I got a laugh right there. See? There she is.
Sharon!
I was Kaka until my sister was like in maybe 8th grade.
For Erica Cobb?
Erica is a lot of syllables for 5 letters for a little kid. So it was
I never thought about that.
Erica.
It's 3 syllables, 5 letters. So it was Kaka.
That's so cute.
And guess what your name is to us?
All right, guys, we're moving on. Victoria's Secret has hired their first openly transgender model, Valentina Sampaio. She's posted this photo of herself announcing the gig. Look at that. It's very nice, huh?
Yeah. I mean,
David's laughing at my
yeah, I think it's a great thing.
Yeah,
absolutely. I'm glad that we said that she's the first openly transgendered model, because I have a feeling that there have been more than one transgender.
You think that's a strong branch to go out on?
Absolutely.
You don't think they take the opportunity to be like,
Not
show
everybody
themselves?
wants to be an advocate.
That's true.
Some people just want to live their life as they feel is most authentic to them. And when Victoria's Secret came out and said that, well, we don't include transgender or we don't include plus size because we're selling a fantasy, guess what? Watch Pose on FX. Transgender fantasy is something too.
Yeah, it's also.
And people don't discriminate as much as they pretend like they do. They just don't.
It's very true, and I will say that Victoria's Secret has gone through a rebranding, right? So Third Love, my friend started that company. They called out Victoria's Secret. They came back and said, look, we're not going to have oversized people or trans, and I stopped spending my money on that because that's my right as a consumer. Now their stocks plummeted lower than a plunge bra. I swear to God, they're almost in bankruptcy. Did you like that
Good
moment?
one. Really?
Thanks a lot. Absolutely. Because at what point in 2019 are we not all looking for a little more transparency with our brands? So in New York, in the subway station, Third Love has women with half a breast or a mastectomy or a C-section scar or transgendered people. And there's the place I'm going to put my money because that's the future, not the past. And I think Victoria's Secret doesn't speak to me anymore. Yeah. I'm not a perfect body. I'm never going to be a perfect body, and I don't want to promote that for women.
But what if they do have a market that they're making money off of promoting that, just to take the other side of the argument?
Totally. And if you're a high-end Fredericks of Hollywood or high-end lingerie.
Is that high-end?
Yeah, pretty much.
Just like La Perla.
Yeah, I guess La Perla. Look, she's absolutely right. La Perla, you're absolutely right. But that's okay. I understand you have a brand. Victoria's Secret is in every mall. It's next to the Gap. You won't include trans people? To me, that is insulting.
But do you think this is a great step forward for them now? Would you ever go back there?
Yes, because if I were a trans girl or boy and I saw that, I'd be so happy to see representation. To me, though, it reeks of a desperate Hail Mary.
It kind of does.
Yeah, well, Hail Mary, I mean, desperation's inherent in that word. Wow. But yeah, I mean, I like that they.
It's true. A Hail Mary is never not desperate.
That's true.
Okay.
All right. Okay. All right. We can just move on, John.
We're just picking on Tori. What else is new? Happy Monday, everybody.
Happy Monday, everybody.
All right, guys, a new survey might have you second-guessing ordering food for delivery. This one I really like. U.S. Foods found that 28% of delivery drivers, basically 1 in 4, have eaten your food. That's right. I kind of figured this one. You know,
I didn't at all.
If you have French fries or something open, you know someone's grabbing one of those.
I didn't. I'm being honest. Did you?
Look at her face.
Yes, for sure.
always, you know me,
Yeah,
I
you're
always
right.
consider the worst.
You're right. Erica's right. She does. She always does.
I do. I go
She
straight to
does.
like, what is the worst case
She
scenario
does.
that's going to happen here, and how do I prepare for this? So then I am a little picky about what I will order. Some places have tamper-proof bags, but honestly, I try not to think about it because I try not to think the world's going to come to an end every single day, although there's so much evidence that might be the truth.
Erica, you were never a broke waiter in your life?
Of course I was a broke waitress.
Did you eat the food going in?
No.
I did.
As a broke waitress.
Better person than me.
No, I did not. As a broke waitress, what I did was do things like put my life in danger, like take the subway or L at like 3 o'clock in the morning because I had a U-Pass and I could get on for free. And my mother would call me and be like, would you really take the L at 3 o'clock in the morning?
I just ate people's food.
You know, I risked my life. I didn't risk my stomach, you know.
But it was on the way
out of, they had already eaten.
Yeah, not before you get your food. But
Speak for yourself.
I definitely ate some food off people.
You don't know how many scallops you're supposed to get?
Before you take it out there?
Yes. That's when it's hot.
Yeah, but you get in trouble you get in trouble either way.
By who?
You were just taking a scallop off of somebody's plate?
It would just, if there's like, you ever seen like the Discovery Channel and there's like a gazelle and then there's one that gets away from the pack and the lion sees that one? That's how I look at the scallops. I'm like, that one, that's got a problem. That's not making it to the table.
See, it's kind of like honor among thieves. You got to do it on the way out.
On the way
not
out,
on the way
right.
in.
I'm okay with that.
You know?
It's amazing that people didn't know. See, I worked at Hooters, so if you order 10, you better have 10 wings on that plate.
I don't think those guys were worried about their wings, Erica.
Yes, they were. They would count them. I'm telling you.
But what if, oh yeah.
But the worst is when you see the people on your Ring video slurping your shake, waiting for you to come to the door to deliver your food.
No one does that.
Oh, it's a viral thing.
There is one.
Yeah.
That's pretty real. But I heard because I have friends that have driven for Postmates. I heard that if the person, especially late night, because people get hammered, they order food, they pass out. If the people don't get the food, you get to keep it as a Postmate person. Or go to.
I don't know if I like that rule. Well, they never answered. I mean, All right, guys, we got to the bottom of that. Coming up on DBL, Feng Shui for your bedroom. I said it right. Feng Shui. That's how you say it.
That's right.
There you go. Helpful tips to make the most of your space and get restful sleep at the same time. And a basketball player's drug test comes back positive, but you won't believe why. What he tried to get away with is coming up next.
Can be. I think that we're all getting through this, and you notice that and it sounds corny, but we always do try and find a little humor even in a tough day like this because that's the only option that we do have is to not be miserable in this one life we've been given.
Crickets.
So we appreciate you guys writing in on both sides about the gun thing. I'd like to hear how you guys think about the people eating of your food. I know most people.
Someone wrote in already. Michael Loveland said, "I know my Domino's drivers, and a bite out of my pizza, I'm going for dental records."
You can't. Listen. You can't take a bite out of pizza.
You can't take but can you take a pepperoni off?
No, but like you might be able to get a breadstick out of there or something. You know what I mean?
Or
Like,
a
you gotta
mozzarella
know,
stick.
Yeah, you got to know what you could grab.
See, I think going for pepperoni is dangerous because
the cheese could come.
Yeah, if you rip it and the cheese follows, and then you try and put it back, now it looks like a human did that.
That's true. A lot of people wrote in and said, "Please tell us all about Lion King, really quick." This is our last break. People want to know how Lawson took it.
Oh, it was great. That's right. I forgot.
People are very upset we didn't mention it.
So, we had some important stories today. But it was beautiful. It was great. He made it through the whole movie. It was wonderful. He didn't know exactly what was going on, but right when we got there, he was like every animal on the screen. And we watched Serengeti yesterday, by the way, which is narrated by Lupita Nyong'o. It's an amazing show. Oh my God, we watched that yesterday. So he loves animals. He knew all the animals, but the storyline he wasn't really following. But he made it. I tricked him.
Did he get Mufasa?
No. I cried. He was like, "What's going on?" I cried more. Well, I'll tell you more later. But it's sad when Mufasa dies, obviously, because he curls up next to him. It's so sad.
But you cried, I think, with the.
I cried when Mufasa comes back and he's like, "I'm proud of my son," and I was like,
"Are you gonna cry right now?"
Yeah. Oh my God.
That's a rough one.
Yeah.
Mufasa.
Welcome back to DBL. Every now and then, there's a headline that makes us scratch our heads and ask ourselves, they tried to get away with what? That was great acting. Like this bizarre story out of Brazil.
Oh, there's the sound.
Oh, I like it. A gang leader tried to escape from prison by dressing up as his teenage daughter. What do you think? Does his disguise pass the test?
It's pretty good.
I mean, it wasn't the worst.
So the guard said they were suspicious of the way the woman was leaving the facility because of how she was walking, not that creepy mask that he just took off there.
I bet he was walking like a man and not like a teenage girl.
How does a man walk?
Yeah.
You know, like this.
Not a man from the 70s.
How did teenage women walk?
There's a difference in the games.
I don't think so.
I think it's right. You're supposed to be able to pay attention to those little things
Details.
like body language.
Yeah.
How did he get the mask?
That wasn't really that bad of a mask. If you put some of those new, like, kind of black nerd glasses that everybody's wearing now, they're trendy, to kind of hide the face a little bit, I think you could have got away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's move on. A Cleveland man is making headlines for his slip-up during a bank robbery. Get this one. He wrote a note demanding money on the back of a DMV document, which had his name on it. And here's the best part. The bank teller realized it, addressed the subject by his first name, and then called the police.
Hey, Kevin, I'm going to need you to wait right there,
Why didn't he just say, that's not me? He didn't have to cop to it.
Yeah, you're right.
He could have just been like, who's Kevin?
It's just a random piece of paper. That's fine.
It has your photo right there.
And also, you're not wearing a mask, sir.
Right.
Yeah.
You should watch Point Break and come back.
I've found that when criminals make the decision to sponge off of other people and not actually work for themselves, they also make the decision to be idiots and not really pay attention to little details like identifying information.
It's ridiculous.
Yes, that's a little fun
I miss those dumb criminal videos, like when they throw a rock at a window and it hits them in the face and like knocks them out.
Ellen DeGeneres had one where they all made a joke of the family at the dinner table, and the robber laughed upstairs, and they knew someone was in their house.
That'll do it.
I'm going to kill you when I try to. All right, guys. I went a little too far on that one. All right, our last story. American basketball player DJ Cooper is looking for a new job. We're going to tell you why. He was suspended from the European Professional Basketball League for failing a drug test, but here's where things get weird. DJ failed because the test said he was pregnant. Apparently, the urine he tried to use was his girlfriend's. What a way to find out you're expecting.
Maybe
DJ.
he's just too cheap to get a pregnancy test. So it's like, he went two birds with one stone. Yeah,
wow.
That's a rough one.
Congratulations, you're pregnant and you don't have a job.
Wow.
Do you think you give him a second chance just because he's a newborn dad and it's like, hey, you gotta have some money coming?
He's a newborn dad?
New dad of children.
Wow.
I just question all
Kai
the
got you.
Yeah.
You're 100.
I got
You just got that?
I did just get it. Okay, I'm on board.
All right, we're on the ball.
All right.
We're on the ball today. All right, coming up on DBL, tips for creating good vibes in the bedroom, how feng shui can go a long way for a good night's sleep.
Buddy, I'm Dr. John Kudrowski. I'm a professional ski mountaineer, mountain guide. I'm an author and a keynote speaker as well, and I've been up on Everest 4 times. Now I'm going to give you the 4 main things to consider when you're climbing Everest, and the first thing is travel. So when you're traveling over to climb Mount Everest, travel is about $2,000. You'll arrive in Kathmandu, and then if you're climbing the south side, you take a plane to Lukla and start trekking. If you're climbing the north side, you take a plane to Lhasa and you drive to base camp. Next is room and board. And for Mount Everest, there's a lot of little pieces to this. There's the trekking into base camp. You can stay at really nice lodges and tea houses. Some of these expeditions have big dome tents with pool tables and ping pong tables and even a bar. Then you got to think about going up the mountain as well. And we have dining tents and cook tents in one of our camps called Advanced Base Camp. And then you also will be staying in a tent in the different camps. So there's a lot of lodging options. And this option costs you about $8,000. Now, what about the gear to climb Mount Everest? Because you're obviously not going to go up there in this. So the essential gear you're going to need to climb Mount Everest includes bottled oxygen, crampons to go on your boots, an ice axe, of course, and a big down suit to withstand the 30 or 40 below temperatures. Now, for the most important part of climbing Mount Everest, you're going to need a mountain guide. We'll also hire you a personal Sherpa, and those items will run you about $50,000, but they're very important. So on Everest, I've seen price ranges going from the low end, $50,000, the high end, $100,000. At the end of the day, you're gonna be dropping about 75 grand in order to climb the highest mountain in the world. Get ready to cash in your child's college fund or maybe even mortgage your house. I'll see you on the summit.
Welcome back to DBL. Getting a good night's sleep is all I ever want, and a good sandwich. And creating harmony in the bedroom can make all the difference. Our very own Tori Shulman is tackling feng shui in the bedroom in today's So Close, sponsored by So Clean.
It's no secret, partnerships aren't easy, especially when you have to share the bedroom. Well, my husband and I have mastered the master bedroom. Get it? And I'm here to spread the good word. First off, it's all about symmetry, people. Get that bed away from that wall, get 2 side tables, turn off that pesky overhead light that nobody looks good in, and opt for 2 soft lamps instead. Now, when it comes to mirrors, some feng shui experts suggest leave them out of the bedroom. Apparently, they hold past energy and even hint at a third party meddling in your duo. Well, if you're one of those people like me that need a mirror in the bedroom, consider a circular one. It symbolizes continuity in your relationship. Another decor tip, get a headboard. It can actually connect you with your partner, and not having a headboard can make your relationship feel temporary, and nobody wants that. Lastly, invest in your sleep. Splurge on bedding that you are excited to snuggle in every night.
And for more ways to rest easy, call So Clean at 1-800-319-3713.
Roses are red, violets are blue. These are your tips to harmony in the bedroom. Now the rest, it's up to you. Mascara, I think.
Nailed it as always, Tori Shulman. Is it feng shui or feng shui? I don't know. I always say feng shui, but I think it's feng. We don't know. We'll be right back.
Yeah, we got a code 3232, a filthy mascara user on the corner of your little and nasty. Yeah, I said it, y'all. I'm back with the beauty police, and today we're here to let y'all little nasties know it's time to put down that nasty mascara that you've been using for 2 years, girl. Ooh, I can't even. Let's bring it back, though. Some of you may not know what I'm talking about, but I'm sure you've seen it. Now, every now and then I come across a young lady, sometimes older, sometimes younger, sometimes a man, whoever, whatever, and they always seem to have a nasty old mascara tube from 2010 that they've been clutching on to because it was that one good mascara that works. But let me tell y'all, that is wrong. Y'all are doing it wrong. I'm gonna be writing you a beauty fine right now, honey, because you're treating yourself wrong. It's just nasty. Now, you may not know, mascara is not to be sticking around for a year, for 6 months, not even 4 months. Did you guys actually know mascara is only supposed to be used for 3 months? Y'all heard me right. 1, 2, 3. Let's say it in Spanish now. 1, 2, 3. French. Un, dos, trois. I don't know. Anyways, you can't be keeping your mascara around for that long, guys. So I have a couple tips for you. If your mascara is starting to get flaky or dry when you're taking it out the tube, it's time to go, okay? It's time for it to put it away. If your mascara doesn't make that sound when you're taking it out the tube, it's time to go. It's wet. It's not wet anymore. You're putting on dry, crusty mascara onto those beautiful, luscious lashes. What's good, girl? One last one. If your mascara kind of has to like break off a little chunk of like dryness, put it down, sis. Like, you don't need that in your life. Put that old dirty mascara down. But that's all I'm gonna say for you guys this time. Just make sure you're throwing out that mascara every 3 months and buying a new one, all right? I'll see you guys next time. Make sure to follow me at Jeray for the Slay.
Welcome back to DBL. We want to give a big DBL shout out to retired pro football player Champ Bailey. The Denver Broncos legend was inducted into the Hall of Fame over the weekend, and listen to his emotional speech.
So on behalf of all the black men that I've mentioned tonight, and many more out there, we say this to all of our white friends. When we tell you about our fears, please listen. When we tell you we're afraid for our kids, please listen. When we tell you there are many challenges we face because of the color of our skin, please listen.
You know, I just got from that, which is, I've seen it before, is that could have been, as a woman to a man, there's harassment in the workplace, please listen. It's almost like any marginalized person begging for someone just to have the ability for them to say, this is real.
Well, I think on both those fronts, there's immediate pushback. When you say something to Indy, there's a defensiveness of, hey, I didn't do anything.
Right.
Hey, I'm not racist. And they shut down and they stop listening. So I think what he's saying is like, because if you think about the moment that he chose, that's his Hall of Fame speech. That's his chance to tell the world, I was so awesome, they made a bust of me. And I'm going to tell you how great I am. And instead, he took that time and cemented in history his thoughts on how we would move forward as a group of human beings. So I applaud him. Hell of a player, good guy.
Absolutely. And if he's saying that, you know what I mean, put on a pedestal his whole life.
That's right.
It means something.
Yeah.
It means something. Just listen a little bit more. That's all. Great day to guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
You were so close.
I was so close.